Freaking out, man. You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth.
What do all men in power want? More power.
And now, broadcasting live on GMN from an undisclosed location in the Arizona desert. Italian by birth, American by choice. Songwriter, poet, freedom activist, Luca Zanna with Love, Guns, and Freedom.
All systems go.
Don't tread on us. We're not afraid.
Hi everybody, this is Luca Zanna. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom on K-Talks 1340 AM and on Guerrilla Media Network. As you already know, I'm here every Sunday, and my only purpose, my only goal, it is not to entertain you, not to make you feel funny or feel better. I'm not good at that. My only goal here, even with my own limitations, with my accent, with my grammar, even with the fact that I'm still learning many things. You know, after all, I was even born here. I became an American just a few years ago, in 2005. The goal is to pretty much bring information and facts that show and prove how our liberties, our individual rights, not only are under attack, but they are pretty much being eroded. And now the enemies of freedom and the enemies of this republic, they are working to suppress us, to control us. And for me also it's very important, first of all, we must understand the problem, admit that there is a problem, and then we must work for solutions. Today I have the honor to have with me a man that I've been following for many years. And I never met in person, but I've been following his work. And as I said, I don't go to churches. I believe in God. This is my personal, I don't preach normally during the show, but this is my belief. And normally, I never found, let's say, the ideal pastor that I would like to listen to. But if there is a pastor out there, I know there is one. This man is Pastor Chuck Baldwin. Pastor Baldwin, are you there?
I'm here, Luca. Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you. I've been following your work for many years, and I really meant what I said. Normally I don't go to organized churches because I always believe that, unfortunately, many people, they are not there for the mission, but they are more for control. And I don't like to have a middleman between me and God. I'm a former Catholic. I Reformed Catholic because I understood that the Catholic is just another king, and I'm not going to bow down to any king. But if I had to look for a pastor one day that I would be able to listen with pleasure and interesting way, it's you. And I was almost tempted to move to Montana when I heard that you were going there, by the way, if it wasn't for the weather.
Oh, wow.
Okay?
Well, thank you very much for that.
So I really mean it, and that's why you're here, because I want to talk with you today. First of all, a little bit about you. Everybody probably already know you on my show, but I would like to give a little bit of introduction. I think the best person to talk about yourself, it's you. Tell us a little bit about your background. Who is Pastor Baldwin, and what have you been doing politically, and also, for our country the last few years?
Oh, wow. Well, for 35 years, my family and I lived in Florida, and I pastored an establishment, 501c3 church down there. And, we had a very successful ministry, fairly large congregation. I raised 3 wonderful children there. In 2008, the Constitution Party nominated me for the office of President of the United States, and I ran on that year against John McCain and Barack Obama. In 2010, my family and I felt led to leave Florida after all those years and move to the Flathead Valley of Montana. And that's what we did. When I say my family, we're talking about 5 families, 5 heads of households, around 20 people, including our grandchildren. So we've been here ever since. We started the Liberty Fellowship, which is a unaffiliated, non-501c3, a non-establishment church. Mm-hmm. And it's been growing quickly ever since we got here. And, of course, then we started the Liberty Church Project, where we're going around the country and helping people start non-501c3 churches and helping churches that are to pull out of the 501c3 IRS trap. So in a very quick summary, that's a little bit about what we've been doing and where we are.
Perfect. And, I know many of my listeners probably already know about 501c Church with me, but I would like to, always to guess that maybe somebody just tuning in and say, what are you talking about? What's wrong with this church? Can you please explain briefly what is exactly the condition when a church becomes pretty much under the IRS rules, the 501c Church? What exactly happened?
Well, it's all about intimidation. First of all, the process is pretty innocent at the beginning whenever pastors and churches first decide to get on board. Normally what happens is they want to borrow money to build a building, let's say, and they go to the bank. And before the bank will loan them the money, they have to show them that they are a 501c3 nonprofit organization under the IRS code. Mm-hmm. And so they say, oh, well, we want to borrow money. Okay, that's fine. We'll just go do that. And so they fill out the forms and so forth, and they become incorporated under the code of 501c3. And basically what that does is it makes them a government corporation, a government entity. In the eyes of the state, a 501c3 church is the same as any other 501c3 organization, nonprofit organization, a hospital. I mean, the NFL, for example, the NFL is a 501c3 nonprofit organization.
Wow.
You have, all kinds of organizations that are what they call non-for-profit. Well, a church becomes that. When it does, it's not a church anymore. It's a nonprofit organization created by the Internal Revenue Service. And then periodically you'll get something in the mail, at least that I did when I was pastoring in Florida. You'll get something in the mail that says, that because you're a 501c3 church and you're a 501c3 pastor, here's what you can say and here's what you can't say. Here's what you can do and here's what you can't do. And then a list of things. And of course the main thing that you can't do is say anything about politics, support a political candidate, get involved in a political campaign, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, under threat of losing your nonprofit status, which would mean that people that would give to the church may not be able to, take it off of their taxes at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And they'd have to pay taxes on the things that they purchase and the things that their property and their income and things such as that. And so the fear of losing that nonprofit status is the intimidation that the IRS uses to keep them from getting involved in anything that is deemed political. So in a nutshell, that's basically what happens.
Yes, so pretty much, with the 501c3 status, the churches in America, they become licensed or state-sanctioned organizations by the government. So there is no more freedom of speech, and pretty much the government controls the church. And whatever pretty much, they say, it can be scrutinized. I heard stories that many times in some churches, some IRS agents, they were there monitoring the sermons of the pastors. So freedom of speech, the First Amendment doesn't exist anymore pretty much in the 501c3 status. Now, I see that, you come out with this project. I read about it, but like you can say about this better than everybody else. It's called the Liberty Church Project. And I think this could be the good solution as answer to this problem. Can you tell us a little bit about the Liberty Church Project?
Thank you. A couple of years ago, I was inundated with people that were requesting help. They would say, Chuck, we understand what you're saying. We can't find a non-501c3 church anywhere in our area, and we would love to be a part of one, but what do we do? Where do we go? How do we proceed? And so I prayed about that for a long time, and I came up with the Liberty Church Project. And what we do is we go around the country where there is a group of people. It doesn't have to be a large group, but there does need to be a small group of people that are dedicated and very serious about wanting to start a non-501c3 church, because this is serious business. This is not something that you do flippantly. And so whenever we find a group of people that are dedicated to that and they really want to do that, I will take my team with me, and we will go into that city, and maybe it's a church and they want to get out of the 501c3, or maybe it's a small group of people and they want to start a non-501c3 church. Either way, we go in and I bring a series of lessons to encourage them and help them and teach them. I have a 501c3 legal analyst that travels with me, and she works with them even after we leave, because this is a very long process, and help them get out from under the 501c3. So we just started this like October of last year, and we went to 5 places in those short couple of months, and we went to Texas twice, we went to South Carolina, North Carolina, and Idaho, and in each visit, we successfully either started a non-501c3 church, or we were able to help extract a church out from under the 501c3. So it was a very good beginning, and so now we're looking for 2015 for many other opportunities to open up so we can go help people across the country do this.
Perfect. I mean, this is exactly what we're talking about. First of all, we must understand the problem. And, if you are a Christian, and even if you're not a Christian, the point is, if you believe in freedom of speech, this is the bottom line, okay? But especially if you go to churches and you want to have a relationship with your pastor and try to understand what's going on, even with his help, it is important that we have freedom of speech and we can have a honest conversation about every topic. And I don't think, the government should interfere with what you can say or cannot say. For example, right now, I am from Europe, and I heard terrible stories in Europe. Unfortunately, there is no even this First Amendment that we have here in the U.S., in our Bill of Rights. So, for example, now a pastor in Sweden or Norway, I forgot exactly which part of North Europe, just because he says something about homosexuality that he does not agree, according to the scriptures, according to his belief. We don't need to agree or not with him, okay? This is pretty much his personal interpretation of the Bible, and is his First Amendment. Guess what? In Europe, you go to jail. Simple as that. And if you talk something about, for example, another religion that, according to, for example, just the scriptures, or you read in their scriptures, and you say something that could be offensive, you go to jail. That's what happens in Europe. And I think now this is going to happen also in this country if we do not start to retake back our basic rights, especially in the churches. Now,
yeah, I agree.
We don't need to agree. That's the point, guys. If you want to believe that gay marriage is fine, that's fine. But a man or a woman or a group of people in their own institution, in their own church, they have the right to say whatever pretty much they want. That's the bottom line. Now, I know you wrote several books, and I have pretty much all of them. I'm still reading some because it's kind of interesting. All these books that I have a list of books that I'm going to read the next few months. And I started at Romans 13. I think it's one of the most interesting. And also you wrote another interesting book about, by the way, Second Amendment. So it's so much that you're not just a typical pastor out there. That's why I really like the way you also live your life and you lead your life as an example. Because sometimes people believe that, the image that we have of the pastors or priests, they're in the church and sitting down there just waiting for world events to develop. Meanwhile, we just sit down, let it go. No, you out there and you lead the way with the example that we are not, as Christians, we are not to be passive, but we need to do our part. So first of all, I would like to ask you, as your perspective, as a man that reading the scriptures, what do you think is pretty much the role of the Christian in this age of global tyranny, where pretty much this global government that I know you are aware is pretty much upon us? What should we do as Christians? Shut up and just let it happen, or fight back in some way?
Well, I think our example is in the history of our country. In Europe they don't have the same history and heritage that we do here in the United States, but you go back to how this country was formed, and what you'll find is the patriot pulpit. They called them the Black Regiment in those days. That was the moniker that was given by the Crown, by the way. These were clergymen in colonial America, New England, that stood up in their pulpits every Sunday, and they taught their congregation the biblical principles of liberty from the Scripture. And they taught them so well that whenever it came time to declare their independence and break free from Great Britain, they had the resolve and the courage to do so. If it had not been for the pastors in the pulpits teaching and preaching their people to their people for years, the biblical reasons why liberty was important and the biblical basis for it, there would have been no Revolutionary War. There would have been no War for Independence, no Declaration of Independence. There would have been no Constitution, no United States of America. So I think we need to look to our own history and realize that this country is here. It's in existence because of the leadership and the courage of the pastors of New England in colonial America. And when you look at America today, you say, well, what's missing? Well, that's what's missing. What's missing in America today is the leadership of the pastors. If we don't have pastors to stand out front in their churches and explain the principles of liberty to their people and give them the moral courage and backbone to stand for those principles, they don't know what to do. They're ignorant. They have no motivation. They have no recognition. And that's pretty much where we are. The churches have abandoned the battlefield. They've abandoned the cause of liberty. And as a result, the enemy is taking over. It begins and it ends with the pulpits.
Yes. And you're right. It's very true. And I think this is done by design, by the way. Nothing happens anymore by accident. It never did happen by accident. The fact that now they want to control, the government is controlling the churches because they know through history the role of pastors that you just said in our American history, what happened. So that's another way they're going to control us. Before we go ahead, we will talk about Romans 13 in a few seconds. There is a book that is pretty much ready for me on my bedroom. Room here, table, ready to be read. It's To Keep or Not to Keep. Why Christians should not give up their guns. I have 3 books on my baking table there, ready to cook in the next few days. And I bought this, by the way, a few months ago when it got out, and now finally it's getting there. I'm reading as much as I can, normally at night. And I have a question now. There is pretty much a question is going to be a big question, but you don't need to give a long answer. Just a short version according to the scriptures and also according to what you think. Shall not murder or shall not kill. What is exactly that? Because there's a little debate here when people say, a Christian should never kill. And the question is, does God approves taking a life for self-defense?
Yeah, absolutely. The statement "thou shalt not kill" in the Hebrew means "thou shalt not murder." There's a big difference between murdering an innocent person and taking a life in self-defense. God, in natural law and in the Scriptures, has given to mankind it's not just a right; it's a duty to defend the lives of those that we love, our family, our friends, our community, etc. I mean, everything about nature proves the duty of self-defense. I mean, you go into the natural kingdom, you look at a mother bear who will fight anyone, including a human being, to protect its young. A little bird that doesn't even have the power to attack and hurt, but if a predator is near, she will feign a broken wing or something and try to draw the predator away from the nest. What is all of that? All that is about protection. It's about self-defense. It's saving the life of the family. You mean to tell me that in the natural kingdom we have a natural right of self-defense, but in the pinnacle of God's creation, human beings, we don't have a duty of self-defense? I mean, it's ludicrous. And throughout the Scripture, we go in our book and we show conclusively in both the Old and the New Testament that God has given to mankind a duty to defend and to preserve the lives of their families and loved ones. There's a verse in the New Testament that says, if a man provide not for his own, especially those of his own house, he's denied the faith, and he's worse than an infidel. That's very strong language. Denied the faith, the Christian faith, and worse than an infidel. Well, how do you define provide? Well, food, shelter, clothing, yes, but also security and safety. We have a duty to provide security and safety for our children, our families, our neighborhoods, etc. So these people who suggest that Christians are pacifists and they don't have the right to defend, they're totally ignorant of the Bible. And we wrote the book back in 2011 because then Obama and Einstein were trying to pass that gun ban, if you recall.
Yes.
That would have made criminals out of everyone who owned a semi-automatic rifle. And we looked around and we saw the pulpits in the country utterly silent. And if they weren't silent, they were saying, well, if the government says surrender your guns, then Romans 13 says you got to do it, so surrender your guns. So we'd already written a book on Romans 13, explaining biblical submission. And so now we've got to write a book about lawful self-defense. And so that's why we wrote the book, Why Christians Should Not Give Up Their Guns.
Yes, and I would like to remind the crowd, that one of the most favorite phrases or part of the Bible that Hitler used to like so much was Romans 13. And,
yes.
Yeah, because that's exactly, for me, when they try to control us, there are different ways. And I believe religion, if used or misused, that's another way they can control us. I believe in God, but I do not believe in man that try to control me through religion. And I believe that's what we should understand, not because it's coming from somebody that he has a black robe or is sitting on top of a stool and, just telling us what to do. We need to always use our logic, I believe. We need to use our heart. And also we need to read really the scriptures, not just tell us, just do what we've been told. Now, coming down to Romans 13, we will go 1 second for a couple minutes. It's a little bit, probably you already heard about this. It's a little part of a network news audio file that people can find also on YouTube. And I'll play briefly so you can comment on that, and then we go into your book. Stay here. Here we go. This is about...
All ever become a reality in America? Some fear any nuclear, biological, or chemical attack on U.S. territory might trigger just that. And as KSLA News 12's Jeff Farrell discovered, the clergy would help the government with potentially their biggest problem, us.
From my cold, dead hands.
Charlton Heston's famous declaration captures a truly American value, the overarching desire to protect our freedoms. But gun confiscation is exactly what happened during the state of emergency following Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. U.S. troops also arrived, something far easier to do even now thanks to last year's elimination of the 1878 Posse Comitatus Act. That forbid U.S. troops from policing on American soil. If martial law were enacted here at home, like depicted in the movie The Siege, easing public fears and quelling dissent would be critical. And that's exactly what the clergy-response-team, as it's called, helped accomplish in New Orleans.
Jeff, the primary thing that we say to anybody is let's cooperate and get this thing over with, and then we'll settle the differences once the crisis is over.
Such clergy-response teams would walk a tightrope between the needs of the government versus the wishes of the public.
In a lot of cases, these clergy would already be known in the neighborhoods in which they're helping to defuse that situation.
For the clergy, one of the biggest tools that they will have in helping calm the public down or obey the law is the Bible itself, specifically Romans 13.
Because the government is established by the Lord, and that's what we believe in the Christian faith. That's what's stated in the Scripture.
Civil rights advocates believe the amount of public cooperation may depend largely on how long they expect the suspension of their rights might last. Jeff Farrell, KSLA News 12 reporting.
Here we go. What do you think about this pastor that pretty much says what he said about Romans 13?
Yeah, well, he's regurgitating what the vast majority of pastors have been taught in the seminaries and Bible colleges and universities, etc., across the country. They're all taught that version of Romans 13, sadly. This is the exact same version that Adolf Hitler taught in Nazi Germany. It's the same version the propaganda ministry of the Third Reich would bring to the churches, and the churches would regurgitate it to the people. And that's exactly what they're being taught today. This is, I think, one of the most disturbing things about the modern church is the misinterpretation of Romans 13. In fact, if you were to ask me why is the church in the condition it's in, I would say two reasons. One is the 501c3 tax-exempt status of the IRS that came about in 1954, and secondly, the misinterpretation of Romans chapter 13. That's why my son and I wrote the book. My son is a constitutional attorney, and he and I collaborated and wrote the book Romans 13, The True Meaning of Submission. And we go back into the scriptures, not just Romans 13, but we show the entire body of scriptural evidence, which proves categorically that authority, that human authority is limited. It's jurisdictional. There is no human authority that is sovereign over our lives. There's only one sovereign authority over our lives, and that's the sovereign authority of our Creator. Every man given authority is jurisdictional, and it's limited in nature. For example, a husband has authority in the home as a father, as the husband. Does that give him the right to abuse his wife and children? Can he beat them and misuse them and abuse them and say, well, you must submit to my authority because Bible gives me authority as a father and husband? Absolutely not. Nobody would accept that. We understand that a father and a husband cannot abuse his authority in the home. Well, the same thing is true for the civil authority. The governor, the president, the Congress, the court, doesn't matter what the authority is. It's all limited and jurisdictional. And whenever they overstep the boundaries that God has given them relative to their authority, then it is the duty of people to resist and to put in place that authority which recognizes the boundaries that God has established. This idea that says that we must submit to government no matter what, such as what that pastor just mentioned in that clip, what they don't realize they're doing, Luca, is they are making an idol out of the state.
Yes.
They're becoming idolaters, is what they are. They are, the very first commandment that God gave us is, thou shalt have no other gods before me. And whenever you allow another authority other than God to be a sovereign authority over your life, you have replaced the authority of God with the authority of man, and that is idolatry. And of course, it's slavery. And I know that a lot of pastors don't even think about it. They just unconsciously regurgitate what they've been taught. But that's really what they're doing, is they're making idols out of their congregations.
Yes. And, and this is something people may say, I'm not Christian. I don't really care about this. This is not just, guys, about Christianity or Christian people. This is about, if you understand what's happening right now, they are using the churches to control the rest of humanity, the rest of this country for sure. And this is what is such an important topic, even if you are not a Christian. Because when you understand that manipulating the masses through this misinterpretation of the scriptures, this is something that then is going to influence also, of course, our life. Because at this point, we are already for me, in a new America, ending with a K, no more C. Our Constitution is being destroyed, and of course it's up to us to get it back. We live in under National Defense Authorization Act, under the Patriot Act. Our due process is gone. There is no difference between us and China right now. It is just probably, at least in China, that you still have a phony trial, and then they shoot you in the back. Now you can disappear. And just like us, right now, what we're doing, what we're talking about, things that can be critical to the state, we can be pretty much, this is not an opinion, this is not an hype, this is a reality. We can be labeled domestic terrorist. Is it true? What do you think about this, some sort of phrases that I just said, my statement? You agree with me?
Oh, well, you're true. It's very true. And we already see that happening. And you're also right. Whether you're a Christian or whether you're not, we must understand what's happening in our country, and we must band together as freedom-loving Americans to fight for the liberties that have been given us by God. Whether you're a Christian or not, we still have a Creator God, and God has given us natural rights. It's the responsibility that each of us has as individuals under God to recognize these duties and these liberties and to band together to fight for them. We have, in our war for independence, we had Christians and non-Christians fighting alongside, shoulder to shoulder, for the cause of liberty and independence. Well, the same is necessary today. I know I have a lot of non-Christian friends that are very much liberty-oriented patriots and love freedom, and I'm willing to fight side by side with them for the principles of liberty. This affects all of us. if we're either going to have liberty together or we're going to lose liberty together. It doesn't matter what our religious belief is or isn't.
Exactly.
We are all in this together. And if we believe in liberty, we need to take these situations seriously and fight together for the preservation of our freedoms.
Perfect. And I know this is exactly what I was trying to do, because it's not just about us Christians. It's about, if we believe in freedom, we're all in danger, and we need to unite together, or at least that's what we should do, in my opinion. Now, I know your time is short, you have to go, and before you go, I would like to ask you one thing briefly. According to your experience, I mean, you've been also in the political world. You ran for the Constitution Party, the last election, for presidential candidate. You know a little bit, you know about economics, you know a lot of things, more than the average person. I really mean that, you know that. Now, you're not a magician, you're not a psychic, but you have some intuition according to the facts that you know. What do you think is happening in the next probably 6 months in our reality here in America? What do you think may happen?
Well, I'm not a prophet, that's for sure, but all of the conditions and the trends indicate that we're going to continue to lose our freedoms. I expect no relief from the Republicans in Congress. Those fellows have proven themselves to compromise and to capitulate away all of the principles of freedom. I don't expect that McConnell and Bonner are going to do much of anything to help preserve our liberty. So I don't think we're going to see any improvement in Washington, D.C. Unfortunately, the trend is that the things that you just mentioned there a moment ago are going to continue. I really think that it's going to be the grassroots. It's going to be the churches. If we can get pastors to speak out, if we can start getting the churches to speak out, if we can start getting people that love freedom and believe in freedom to speak out, it always starts and ends with we the people. And if we're looking to government and to the political parties to solve the problem, it's not going to happen. It's going to be with the people. We're going to have to speak out, stand up, take seriously the cause of freedom. And I think region by region, there are regions of the country right now where people are doing just that. I think that there's some positive signs out there, that it's not all negative. But at the same time, if we just sit back and do nothing, that's the worst thing we can do. And if we do that, then there is no hope. So you have a job. You doing it, informing the people, educating people through your radio broadcast every day. We have to keep this up, Luca. We just have to keep informing and educating and inspiring people as to the truth. And the one encouraging thing is, there's a lot more people, I think, that are awake today than there were in 2008 when I ran for president.
I agree. At least Obama did that of goodness, if you can say that. Listen, Pastor, no, time is short and you have to go. I would like to just give you the chance to say how people can reach you, how people can buy your book. I know you have a beautiful website there. Please go ahead and mention your website.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we have the book, To Keep or Not to Keep, Why Christians Should Not Give Up Their Guns, the book Romans 13, The True Meaning of Submission, and a lot of other material. The website is chuckbaldwinlive.com. That's all one word. Baldwin is BALDWIN. chuckbaldwinlive.com.
Perfect. I also will post in today's broadcast, we have a page for each show. I will post the link with your website and of your books. Thank you very much, Pastor Baldwin. I really appreciate it, and God help us.
Thank you very much, Luca. Great to be with you.
Thank you.
He's a songwriter, a poet, a rifleman,
I'm not afraid,
and a constitutional activist.
I'm not afraid,
Italian by birth,
I'm not afraid,
American by choice. Gianluca Zanna.
I'm not afraid.
And his new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom. 16 powerful songs on one CD from the heart of a patriot. For download or to order the CD, go to www.lovegunsfreedom.com. That's www.lovegunsfreedom.com, Lyrics for your mind, music for your heart. Gianluca Zanna's new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom.
And that was Pastor Chuck Baldwin. Interesting interview. I've been following Pastor Chuck Baldwin pretty much since probably 2008, something like that. And I tell you, I don't believe in unorganized religion. I do not go to churches. I do not believe that it's supposed to be a middleman between me and my Creator. But when it comes down to pastor, if I to find some sort of ideal pastor who believes in freedom, who understands the individual rights, and I respect, Pastor Baldwin is the man. And, I am pretty much a Reformed Catholic, okay? I grew up in Italy as a Catholic. In Italy pretty much there are not many choices. It's a cultural. I don't even think it's religious. And don't get me wrong, it's good that part of tradition can be interesting, but when you realize that when under the Catholic Church you are under a kingdom, there is pretty much a king, and you bow down to a king, and who is this man? He's just another man. The Pope is another man, like the prophet in different religions are just men, and so many pastors just men. And I'm not saying that every man is bad, but unfortunately, as you know, men are corruptible, and that's why I never put faith into a man. For me, and I do not want to have a middleman between me and God. And sometimes, this is just my personal choice. I do not like churches because I feel pretty much, or constrained in some sort of rituals that they are not really me. I mean, I like to be more quiet. I like to be more directive. I like to be personal with my relation with my God, with God, the Creator, and Jesus Christ. But I'm not here to preach. All I'm saying is this. There are different type of philosophies out there, at least the schools, when it comes down to Christianity, how the Christian man should pretty much interact and act with this evil that, in my opinion, we are living in right now. Especially, I really believe we are getting close to the beginning of the end. This is, of course, my personal interpretation of the scriptures. I'm not an expert, but I read them, and I think really that, and I feel it, that this is what's happening. Now, I see many pastors, I see many also Christians, that they think, after all, they have nothing to do. They just need to pray and repent and let it go, because at the end of the day, they will be pretty much, I don't say the word kidnapped in the sky, but, this sort of rapture. And all the people that we're going to be left here is going to be the bad people, and the good people, they have not to worry because they're going to be raptured. And hell is going to unleash on the planet Earth. I do not believe that. I believe that, first of all, it's our duty as a Christian, and even if you're not a Christian, as a human being who believes in good, if you must believe in good, to stand up for good. And now more than ever, regardless, sometimes we say, I'm just a man, what can I do? Doesn't matter. You have to start, first of all, in my opinion, to speak up, to stand up, to live in your book of life, that your actions will talk loud for who's coming after you, and if you believe in a Creator, He will read, He will see you, at least your attempts in trying to stand up for good. I really believe that more important, if you profess yourself to be a Christian, you must completely be fearless in your struggle against evil. And in this way, we know what is evil. Evil, it is now in this dimension a corrupted government. It's violence. It is this global government. It is everything bad that's happening to us as a society. And when we understand that something is bad, we cannot just ignore it. Sometimes could be also small things in your community. And even just getting that letter to the editor out and being on record that you do not agree and you do not support such acts of evil. I think, in my opinion, this is very important. That's why I really believe Christians have incredible responsibility in not just praying or going to church, but acting, standing up, acting against evil. That's the most important thing. So, all I can say, times they're going to be really tough. And I believe that, unfortunately, we have seen nothing yet, seriously. And I'm telling you, I'm not here to preach. Normally, I keep my religious belief for myself. This is not like a show where I'm trying to tell you what to do. You do what you want, and that's fine. All I say what I'm doing and what is working for me. You know, right now, I'm telling you, between first of all, the political situation, and more important, you understand the world that we are living in. Living 24/7 under chemical attack by these and biological attack by these weather modification programs, that they're no more even a conspiracy. They're in front of our face. We're feeling like pretty much we've been deprived of the sun, of the light, and whatever we breathe in, it's so toxic that you can feel it in your body every moment of your day. It's kind of harsh, you know. And then, of course, Obamacare and the economy, the destruction of the economy, and the international affairs, these international wars, rumors of wars. I mean, it is tough. And so many other little problems that you see, also local corruptions. I really believe that, for me at least, the most important weapon against all this, it is not just, preparation and knowing my rights and all these things. It is faith. Without faith, I could not face all this. Without faith, I would have probably gone crazy long time ago. And don't get me wrong, yes, we still live in this reality, so we need to do our homework. We need to prepare for our things. We can take care of ourselves. We want to be independent. We want to be responsible for ourselves, for our families. So let's not forget what we have to do. Because God say help, He will help you, but you need to help yourself. So this is pretty much my little, conclusion about that. So Christians, please, if you are there, I'm not telling you what to do, but I pray that you at least will lead by example, fearless. Because the fear, in my opinion, is something that we cannot afford, and is not something that belongs to somebody who believes in an afterlife and he believes in good. We will pretty much face fear. Of course, we are human beings, and I'm not saying that we are fearless. Fears can be controlled, can be used to pretty much some sense of self-preservation, but also as energy. If you channel this fear into energy, you can react and you can fight back. And when I say fight back, I'm not just talking about physically. I'm talking about just being there. Sometimes even just be there facing evil and not coward in front of evil, and showing to evil that, after all they can take is our body, but they will never take our soul. I have a song now. It's called I Am Not Afraid, music and lyrics by Luca Zanna. I really think it may fit this situation pretty well. Stay tuned. Don't go away. This is Luca Zanna, and you're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom on K-Talks 1340 AM and on Guerrilla Media Network.
I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. Yeah, though I walk through the valley, the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Your rod and staff, they comfort me. I am not afraid, because you are with me. Na 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 na. 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 I'm not afraid. Na, 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 na. I'm not afraid. Na, 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 na. I'm not afraid. Na, 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 na. I'm not afraid. Na, 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 na. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to face the truth. See evil in the eyes. Are you ready to stand for good? There's more than just this life. We are living in crazy times. If you believe it's a crime, I'm not afraid. Na, 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 na. I'm not afraid. Na, 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 na. I'm not afraid. Not afraid. Na, 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 na. I'm for courage every day. I will fight till my last breath. You give me strength to smile at death. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. Because you're with me. I'm not afraid. Because I believe in you.
We are back into the studio. This is Luca Zanna. You're listening to Love, Guns and Freedom. And that was I Am Not Afraid, music and lyrics by myself, Gianluca Zanna. I would like to remind my listeners, you, my listener, that this show, it is, first of all, an act of love. I'm here Sunday, and I do this for the only reason I want to do it, because I would like to share as much information out there, to give you at least the tools to learn from each other, first of all, because I do not know everything, but I'm trying to learn as I share this information. And also, hopefully, with this information, we can, educate and make aware and wake up our fellow Americans. And the reason why, only when we understand what we are facing, we will be able to fix this problem. The problem here, it's global tyranny. The problem here, it's techno-fascism. The problem here that we're going to become all slaves. I really believe we're already pretty much slaves. And sometimes people say, maybe you're a little extreme. Why you say? After all, you are not a slave. But let's talk about this. I don't want to repeat this over and over, but think about it. You really think you own something? You really think you own your home? Really, try to do not pay the property tax at the end of the year. Your home is gone. You're pretty much just a rental, and you hold your property for the state. They are forcing you to wear a product that maybe you do not want, and without you endangering anybody else. Example, a seatbelt. In many states, almost every state, you must wear the seatbelt. The state is pretty much like God and is claiming ownership over your body. And there is no other justification but complete control. Because if you think about it, you are responsible for your own body. Why the government should force you to put a seatbelt when you're not endangering any other people? Right there, for me, would be enough to think you are not a free man or a free woman. And there are many other issues. Now look at Obamacare. Don't get surprised, people. I mean, they are forcing you to buy a product that you may not want or may not be exactly fitting your budget or your desire. Doesn't matter. This happened before Obamacare. Think about the property tax that we were talking about before. After all, if I had, for example, children, or maybe I do not have children, why should I be forced to pay for a product or a service that I do not use? And even if I had children, I would never send them to public school. For me, like, it's a sin, it's a re-education program. I will send them to homeschooling probably, or whatever, my choice. So, you see, this didn't happen today. And so the same situation with the income tax. And we can talk about many other things. Income tax didn't happen before 1913. In America, we were one of the few countries in the world that we, the people, we're supposed to earn every dollar of our income as a labor, okay? After 1913, things changed. The private Federal Reserve took pretty much control of this currency. And every time you pay income tax, remember, this was according to a Ronald Reagan congressional investigation. It wasn't just some conspiracy. Every dollar that we pay out of our income tax, all it does, it goes to pay for the interest. And I say again, the interest of the debt that we owe towards this monstrosity called private Federal Reserve. Okay? So the Federal Reserve Bank print a dollar that charges the interest. And when you go out and you work really with your labor, real work, guess what? That's why you gotta pay the income tax to pay back to this sort of a black nobility. Pretty much, they control us the same way kings and lords used to own our bodies, pretty much during the Middle Ages. So, this is my point. We are here to try to awake humanity. And in my little show, even I have a lot of listeners overseas and all over the internet, I still try to do whatever I can. This is not a game. This is not a hobby. This is an act of love, and I really mean it. And sometimes you may agree with me or not, that's fine. But I just hope at least we understand that nobody is supposed to be a slave. We're supposed to all have respect as human beings for each other. That's all I'm saying. And also, if you want to support the show, there is a simple way to do it. I like to have sponsors, as I said, but the best way, it's your support. All you have to do is 99 cents. If you like what I'm doing, what I'm sharing with you, it's like you offer me a coffee, you know. I like coffee, you know that. I like espresso. And let me tell you, if you go out to the wrong coffee place, 99 cents doesn't buy you a great coffee. So, guess what? You can get, though, with 99 cents, an incredible one of my songs. I have more than 100 songs that you can download, each song for just 99 cents. And the official download, you can get it from iTunes or Amazon.com, but even better, go to my website, www.zanna.us, and download all my songs. I really appreciate it, and you support the show. That's for me the most important thing. Now, a little bit of brief news, because we're going to have second hour all about guns and training, and then the final hour is going to be about love. Interesting guest, incredible woman. She's an artist, and she's also a very intelligent woman that sometimes, you know, people like to stereotype blondes and dumb. You know, this lady is beautiful blonde and also very smart, in my opinion, and I'll tell you later her name. So, all I want to say now, a little bit of information, interesting article, that there are pretty much documents out there, and I can put these documents on the website, Love, Guns, and Freedom. Today's show, I will put a link with all the real documents that show foreign troops to run FEMA camps, complete with cemeteries and crematoriums. So, these are not just voices. If you go to lovegunsfreedom.com, today's show, and exactly you will see it in the page. I create a page every day. This is Sunday, the 8th of February 2015. You will see this link, this article, and you will find in these links all the different type of official documents where in FEMA, in case of an emergency, these FEMA camps will be controlled and maintained and run by foreign troops. And so the crematoriums, think about it. Why the foreign troops? Why the crematoriums? As these are going to be set up for mass extermination. I mean, let's not forget that just a couple of weeks ago, that director of that incredible movie, Gray State, he was trying to warn us about something. And all I'm saying, maybe he was onto something. So that's what I'm saying, guys. Don't go away. Stay tuned. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna, and check this incredible article on my website, lovegunsfreedom.com. Amazing stuff. Stay tuned.
He's a songwriter, a poet, a rifleman,
I'm not afraid,
and a constitutional activist.
I'm not afraid,
Italian by birth,
I'm not afraid,
American by choice. Gianluca Zanna.
I'm not afraid.
And his new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom. 16 powerful songs on one CD from the heart of a patriot. For download or to order the CD, go to www.lovegunsfreedom.com. That's www.lovegunsfreedom.com. Lyrics for your mind, music for your heart. Gianluca Zanna's new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom.
Okay, before we go for hour number 2, I would like to remind you that this show, it is not like NPR. Pretty much that, they point a gun at your face to get you tax dollar through the government. No. This is a show because it's an act of love, not just me doing it, but also you listening and also supporting it, okay? This is called free market. I'm here because of my time, my love, and my dedication, but also I'm here because you can help me out to support this show. The best way, because I like to keep this information free, don't get me wrong, if they are good sponsors, I like to get them. But first of all, my first sponsor is the truth and my integrity. So the best way to support the show is go to www.zanna, ZANNA.com, zannaart.com. And you can pretty much download any of my songs there. You can also take a look at my paintings, also some of my postcards and prints, and so many other things I'm uploading. With just 99 cents, you can get any of my songs, and in that way, you will support the show. That's all I'm saying. Another sponsor is another project I launched a few months ago. It's called freedomlovers.us. It's a free dating site for freedom-loving singles. By the way, you don't need to be a single, because this is not just for dating. If you are just a person who believes in freedom, who wants to meet other like-minded people, and even networking and trading, selling, or just sharing ideas, this is for you. It's completely free. Go to www.freedomlovers.us and open an account, and feel free also to blog. There is also incredible chat room, and please help me out to share it. This is something I'm doing, and I really believe it could be a great place to have a community where we find each other. So don't go away. Now we're going to go in hour number 2. We will talk about guns. We have an incredible guest, tactics, and it's going to be a great show with God's will. And let's just enjoy this moment of peace. It's a great Sunday today. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna. Don't go away.
Have you ever met someone on an online dating site and thought, wow, this guy is perfect for me, or she is simply amazing, only to find out they were hiding a deep, dark secret? They plan to vote for Hillary. FreedomLovers.us was created for singles who want to exchange ideas and a love for freedom. People who are looking for solutions to create and defend freedom in the real world, and at the same time getting that once-in-a-lifetime chance to find their true soulmate. Whether you are interested in meeting your soulmate, making new friends, networking, or hanging out with that like-minded liberty lover, visit FreedomLovers.us. It's the first free dating site and community. So patriots, don't waste your time with other dating sites. FreedomLovers.us is the place where like-minded singles really click.
You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna on Guerrilla Media Network. Here we are. Second hour, Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna, Sunday the 8th, 2015. Second hour, you know very well, we talk about guns. And today, I would like to go straight to some great training, because, of course, we cannot teach you everything, and this is not supposed to be a class, okay? After all, you're just listening, and, you're driving maybe, or you're home. But what is the purpose for me of this show, especially of the second hour, when we talk about guns and techniques and training ideas, is to mostly put in your brain, first of all, the idea of what we do not know. Because sometimes, we think we know, but that's the moment that we do not really know. So it's always good for me, it's a journey, learning an art, martial art in this case, weapons, doesn't matter if you're a handgun or a rifle or a knife, it's still a martial art. It's like a journey. And you never think that you never reach the peak. It's never going to be a peak. It's always going to be some sort of a journey. So today with me, I have an expert. He's an instructor, he's a professional, and he's been doing this for many, many years. And that's why I like to share with you ideas and also some basic concepts of self-defense on the radio. So at least, even probably, you still know it's going to change because you need to practice. You probably need to find a qualified instructor. I would suggest you to put this information in practice. And the same way, you may know what you do not know. Cope, are you there?
Yes, sir. How are you doing, Luca?
Very good. This is Cope Reynolds. And where are you right now, Cope? Which part of the world are you calling from?
I am right outside of Sholo, Arizona tonight.
Perfect. And briefly, already been on my show many times, several times. And by the way, you also have a great show that I like to listen to you very often on the internet. Give me a little bit, or more important, give to our listeners a little bit your background and what is your organization, and also what is your show, so they can know a little bit more about you. Go ahead.
Okay. My background as far as firearms go is I was, back when I was a kid, it was a common, normal thing for families to start shooting and start hunting at a very young age. I started when I was, started shooting when I was probably 5, and I killed my first deer when I was 9. And I've had a extensive association with firearms of all types ever since then. And back in the 90s, I got very concerned. I was doing a lot of competition shooting, and then I got very concerned about just the way society was going, and I realized that I was becoming like so many other people and having fun with this and learning how to shoot as far as recreation goes. But if I was ever attacked, I didn't have a clue how to shoot. Just because I could shoot well didn't mean I could take care of the situation tactically. So basically gave up my competition shooting completely and got into professional training.
Okay.
And about 96, 95, I got certified by the NRA to start teaching their classes, which I found out they're good, but they're very, very basic. And so I started doing some other training with some of the big names in the industry around the country, and eventually through these different things that I was learning, I've kind of put together a pretty good program of my own. It's not secret, it's not special, it's not it's a combination of some things that I've learned at other places. And just like any other instructor, when you start making stuff up that's not already been doing, you're probably going to be going backwards.
Yeah, sometimes it's good to not reinvent the wheel, but you create pretty much the best according to your, your personal experience, what is best from the different schools and different training systems that you went through. For example, let's go to some specific questions. I talk about this in the past also with other friends. There are two different basics of let's say, not only presentation, but how you pretty much present yourself, the stance, okay? Let's say there is the weaver, modified weaver, and of course there is this new isosceles, mostly for competition. For self-defense, for tactical, real-life scenario, what is your favorite stance?
Well, Luca, when it comes down to it, when this is going to happen, you're probably not going to have the opportunity to assume a perfect stance somewhere.
Yes.
In training, I like a modified weaver. In real life, it's probably not going to matter. It's going to be wherever you're at, on a stairway, getting out of the car. You're going to be doing the best you can to even keep your feet under you. Yeah. And trying to assume this textbook perfect stance that they beat into your head at so many of these schools may be detrimental to you surviving the gunfight.
Exactly. But this is true because, under stress, when the moment happens, we don't know. Maybe we're going to be on our knees. Maybe we're going to be in our car. So maybe there is not a stance. But there is a point, if you have the chance, let's say, you have to go through your house, okay, through your home, and you got to search your home, and even just the way you move or the way you basically, if you have the chance to wait for the threat, not being surprised by, I think there is, you're right, for me, even the modified weaver, I feel more comfortable, and it's a little bit more like, the same stance if I were fighting with my hands a little bit, a little bit like a boxer, stance a little bit. But you're right, the point is when things happen, and thankfully, I never had to go to that point, but I read a lot of books and I've been watching a lot of videos, real life YouTube videos of police or other good people try to defend themselves. Everything seems so fast. You're not going to have a chance to start to put a position stance like you wish, probably it's not going to happen.
Right. And the modified weaver also is, it's very close to when you kneel. You're basically just kicking your firing side foot back and dropping into a kneeling position without having to shift your weight very much or anything. And it's also the same stance that you're going to be using when you're shooting a rifle. So I'm a big fan of keeping it pretty simple and not having to learn too many different stances for different types of weapons. You know?
That's what I like that too, because the point is once you train with the pistol, with modified weaver, you can do shotgun or long weapon rifle, and you still have the same basics. So I like that. Now let's talk a little bit. I know that you go around the country teaching classes. Do you have an official school or a place where people can come and visit you, or you go around, pretty much visiting other people, places, like other locations? How do you teach?
Well, I do have a small place here that we really don't do too many classes locally. I just do some CCW classes and a few smaller things. I do a lot of the classroom type classes, the Glock armor class, disaster preparedness, reloading, all the stuff that is classroom only. But mostly I go to different places. People will host. They'll call me and say, "Hey, can you come up here and do a class?" So we'll get the ball and say, "Okay, this is what I need to do. This is what I need from you. I need a safe, legal place to shoot. Get some people together, and your class will be free." So they conceivably they could get almost $1,000 worth of training just for helping me get all my stuff done. I just show up with targets and stuff and run the class and they get their class free.
That's great. I like this philosophy. And, you help somebody help you back. That's great. If people want to reach you, maybe they're interested, they say, you know what, maybe I can set up in a little community wherever I live, a class. First of all, the requirement. How many people you must have to pretty much put together a class? And what is the average cost for, let's say, some basic self-defense class? And how they can contact you? People want to say, let's do it, Cope.
Classes up there, so I'm going to be there anyway. So, having 4 or 5 people will be okay because there's going to be 8 people in the other class, and they're going to be happening on 2 consecutive weekends. So that works out fine for everybody. So, but on the average, 6 to 10. Some classes we can get up, 15 or 20.
Okay.
And the only thing that means is I need to bring, when I have more people than that, I just need to bring extra instructors with me, which I have 3 other people that are very well qualified to come and help me with that.
And how they can contact you? Because I'm sorry, I missed the first part. There was a little bit problem with the connection. How they can contact you in case they want to reach you?
The best way is probably I have a message phone. Calling the office phone, I may not be around there all the time. The best way is probably to call 505-349-8753. Leave a message. I check it religiously. Sometimes I'm available to actually answer it, but you'll never go more than 24 hours without me answering that. You can also send me an email at the shooting bench, all one word, the shooting bench at live.com. And I check that, 10, 20 times a day.
Perfect. So listeners, if you're out there and you want to get some very good training, and by the way, there are some beautiful videos. You have a great YouTube channel, Cope Reynolds.
Thank you.
And there are a lot of good stuff. You can see what it does. I like very much, by the way, there is a good video you shooting, I think it was a Glock 40 in 40 cal at 300 yards or something like that. I mean,
yes, sir. Yes, sir. 300.
Very good video. And so anyway, you can check him out. And also, it's an opportunity. You can learn a lot. And even if you think you already know stuff, let me tell you, you're never going to know everything. The point is, it's always a journey, and you can always learn from different training, different ideas. So help him out. You can contact Cope, maybe get together a group of friends in your area, and why not? You can get also your class for free. Now, question is, you have also a radio show, and I really like it. It's on the internet, I guess. What is the name of the show?
Sir. Well, my show is called The Shooting Bench. I've been doing it about 10 years. I used to be on AM radio for a few years, and then due to circumstances and everything, it turned out to be a much, much better deal for me to go internet and with the podcast and the whole 9 yards. So that's worked out very well. It's called The Shooting Bench, and our network is called the Survival Circle. And we have, I think, five hosts on there, covering everything from homesteading type stuff to blacksmithing, and most of mine is generally political and firearms. And it's a great it's a great network. We have some really good, knowledgeable hosts out there. We're getting a lot of people that are, dedicating their evenings to sticking with us and everything. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I like that. There's also a chat room. I think it's a great community. On top, it's really good information. I was listening to a couple of shows just last week, and the one I really like it. I was going to bring this topic anyway today, and I'm glad you're here. As a real life situation, normally, we think we go to the range and there is one paper target standing in front of us, not shooting us back, and just being there. Real life, sometimes, rats, they go in pack, and bad people, they may go more than one. So, multiple threats. If we can give your, professional opinion, how would you, let's say in a fighting situation, in a combat situation or a self-defense situation, how a gun owner should face and pretty much deal with multiple attackers?
Well, in my opinion, that's an awfully tough question to answer because there's so many different scenarios. It depends on the terrain and the cover and concealment that you might have available, how many innocents there are around. Are you in a mall, a church, school, or are you just out in the woods somewhere and happen to run across a few dopers, growing dope out there or something? But I'd say if I had to say just one thing that was probably the most important thing is keep moving.
Yes.
Don't stop and shoot. Learn to shoot well while you're moving quickly, and learn to speak and know the difference between cover and concealment. To utilize it, and don't be looking for that perfect 2-inch group in the center mass. If you hit him and he's bleeding, you're making points.
Yes.
Be generous with your ammo. And Luke, I'm going to tell you right now, this is more important to me than anything. If you see what's going on with ISIS and all this stuff here over the last few months,
yes,
there's going to come a time when those people are going to get more aggressive here in the United States. And there's going to be a lot of copycats. There's going to be other terrorists, other punks, other just idiots out there. And for a 5-shot revolver reload, to me is insane. We're about to enter into the most violent and savage time that this country has ever known.
Yes, I believe that too.
And if you're not prepared mentally, physically, psychologically and spiritually to face some of these threats, then you're going to die. And your family's going to suffer.
I agree, Cope, and this is true. This is not a game. This is, I know sometimes we wish reality would be different, but unfortunately, this is the reality we are living. And now, regardless who is fault, we can sort it out but meanwhile, we must survive. We must make it true. And that reality is true because now even, I believe really with this policy to have open borders and not just Obama, before Obama for many, many years. And I wouldn't be surprised we already have ISIS here and only God knows who, Chinese and anything else you can imagine, Iranian and whatever you want to do.
I'm certain of it.
Yeah. Yes, they're already here. Now, the point is when they're going to start to activate themselves. Now, it's our duty. The government is not going to save us. It's not going to be there. We have to take care of ourselves and our family and also help our community. So it's a responsibility. That's why training for me, it is not a hobby. It is not something I just do like let's have a little cup of coffee. No, this is a serious matter. We're talking about with deadly tools. And they're here for a goal. We can enjoy them. It's going to be fun if you like it, but at the same time, it's a real serious business. That's why it's fundamental. And preparation, what you were saying is very important. If you think just because you got a revolver in your purse or in your pouch or whatever, and with 5 rounds, you're going to take care of business. This is not even in a movie happens like that. We better start to think about backup ammo and also more important, awareness. Because, if I had to say, I'm not an instructor, I'm just a professional student. I go out there and try to learn from everybody. The first thing as we have as a weapon in a situation that there are multiple threats, I would say awareness. Maybe we should never been to that point. We should have avoided to be there. And maybe the first thing would be try to get away from the situation because the odds are against us. Of course, if we put ourselves that we have to do something to save somebody else's life or our life, we have no choice and we are facing, we have shoulder on the wall, that's different. But I have no problem to say the best weapon sometimes when you have more than one adversary against you, maybe would be try to just put distance between you and the bad people. What do you think about that?
No, certainly, unless there's a loved one or anybody, an innocent that mandates that you get involved, or I should not say it that way, because not everybody is going to feel the same about having to get involved. I feel that if I have the means, the capability, and the knowledge and the skill to assist someone, whether I know them or not, yes, I know that there is a tremendous amount of liability involved with that, but I still have to look at myself in the mirror, and I still have to face my God when I leave here. And to walk away from a situation that I could have helped is unacceptable to me. But it is acceptable to some people, and neither right or wrong. You know, we're all made differently, and that's just the way it is. So, unless there's a reason for you to be there, don't be there.
Exactly.
Get out.
And on top, then when you're there, even if you have a good heart, and that's great, don't get me wrong, you wish you had all the training you wanted to have. Because when you are under stress, we know the law of 50-50, the 50%. Under stress, normally we have at least our performances don't get better, but get 50% less. Correct me if I'm wrong. Adrenaline is going to kick in, and we're going to be probably trembling, and our group is going to get wider, and our thinking is going to be different unless we've been trained under stress. Correct?
That's true. Even artificial stress that's induced on a training range is a whole lot better than just standing out there on level ground with the sun shining and the birds singing and shooting at a paper target.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the fact that you let me turn this thing off here. The fact that you think that you might be just because you're an exceptionally good shot and you show up all your friends out there doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to survive when someone is trying to cut your head off with a machete or something.
Exactly. By the way,
and if you look, you'll see many news stories out there where you find out that the bad guy may have or the good guy may have won, but look how many times the bad guy gets shot in the leg for mashing that trigger, because they're not smooth, and they're mashing, they're anticipating the shot, and they're shooting low. It happens extremely frequently.
Exactly, especially
and that's due to stress.
Under stress and not enough training. Now, we were talking about multiple adversaries. Let's say there are some basic, I don't call it laws, but some basic guidances that normally in most of the training schools they pretty much tell you. Let's say we have in front of us 3 different type of adversaries, and one comes with a shotgun, one comes with, a machete, and one comes with a pistol. And different distances would be pretty much the basic rule. Who should we engage first?
Well, the one that's paying the most attention to me, not necessarily always the closest one. If the closest one is the guy with the machete and the guy with the shotgun is already zeroed in and pointing my way, then obviously that's the one I want to get rid of first, if at all possible. It's kind of hard to get a definite answer on that, but typically I think the shotgun would be the biggest threat, depending on the distance away he was. If he was inside 25 yards, I would be very concerned about that.
We can say
if it was a little bit farther away, I'd be a little bit less concerned. But
as a general rule, can we say the most dangerous, according to logic? There are different, of course, it's like different combinations we can put out. If somebody with a machete is pretty much on us, that means it would be pretty much close. But somebody, let's say, with a rifle, it's like 50 yards, that could be very dangerous too. So, as a general rule, let's say, according to our logic, that's why we gotta think fast. That's why we gotta visualize this scenario before, and who is the most dangerous to us that could be pretty much get us down immediately. So there is not really a specific answer, but use your brain and try to think who is the most dangerous in the next few seconds to you. Now, another show that I really like that you to cover was about organizing the militia. And I found it very informative and very good information out there. And I know there is so much to talk, but let's talk briefly about, because the idea is people sometimes they think just because they got a rifle and they got some boxes of ammo somewhere, they are pretty much they're done. my opinion.
Unfortunately, that's true.
That's true. If you want to have a hobby, probably that would be enough. But if we have a rifle as a citizen duty to be the defender of this republic against all enemies, foreign and domestic, I think we need more than just a rifle and a bench. And by the way, we don't need a bench if we're going to have a rifle for real purposes, and some ammo. We need also some gear. We need also some mindset. Can you just give me, pretty much the essence of how an individual, a law-abiding person, laws, when I say law, the Constitution is the first law that we need to respect and, in my opinion, defend, and is ready to do his sacrifice to defend this republic. What would be the basic gear and thing that you should put together as a working man? I'm not talking about somebody who has millions of dollars. I'm talking about somebody who works 9 to 5 as a family, and he wants to do his best to get some tools to train as an infantryman in the militia.
Well, there's unfortunately probably the most common thing is people want to get a rifle and they want to get thousands and thousands of rounds of ammo, and they don't know how to shoot. They don't know how to carry it. I would say the single most important thing of everything else is get in shape. Mm-hmm. I don't care how much gear and how much crap you have and how much money you spend. If you can't run across the street without breaking down and getting down to one knee and getting your breath, then it's all wasted. So the first thing you need to do is get in some kind of shape. You don't have to be Rambo. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be a football player or a professional wrestler. But you need to be where you can run, carry your gear a little bit, and be able to keep up and not become a liability to all of your family, your group, whoever you're with, or yourself, as far as that goes. You need to have a rifle, preferably a semi-automatic. However, if you have a lever-action 30-30 and you know how to use it and you've got some ammo with it, that's fine. The important thing is that you know how to, and that you're willing to use it. And ideally, we'd like to have an AR-15, AK-47, Mini 14, M1 Garand, FN, FAL, whatever. And the magazines to go with it, and have the knowledge to use it. Now, just because you have the means to go spend $6,000 on a sniper rifle doesn't mean that you can hit people any farther than 100 yards away. The amount of money that you spend does not make you a rifleman.
Exactly.
Shooting, training, practicing, good advice, and lots of time in the field makes you a good rifleman. I'm a hell of a lot more scared of an old farmer with a 30-30 that he's had for 50 years, than I am some punk out here that's got a $4,000 rifle that just got it last week, and it sure is cool, and he loves to show his friends, but it's not. He's not up to snuff with it. So some type of a decent weapon, and whether you need thousands and thousands of rounds of ammo, I say if you start out with 500, you're fine.
Okay.
If you haven't appropriated some more ammunition by the time you use that 500 rounds up, then you're either dead or you've run off and left your ammo somewhere or something. When you get in a firefight, one of two things is going to happen. You're going to win or you're going to lose.
Yeah.
If you win, you get whatever's around.
You got more ammo
to restock. If you lose, it doesn't make any difference how many thousands of rounds you started with. You should have a good quality, durable backpack of some kind. Now, whether or not you're in shape to carry it very far is not quite as important as the fact that you have something to keep your gear organized. Some of us are getting older and have bad knees and bad backs and all that, but we still have good backpacks where the stuff is organized properly, even if I have to throw it in the back of a pickup. If you expect to wear it, it should be good quality, it should fit you, and it should be comfortable and big enough to carry the amount of gear that you're going to have. And typically, just to make this short and sweet, just some basic camping gear. It doesn't have to be the high dollar stuff. You need a way to start a fire. You need food, lightweight, high protein, high carb food, and water. Lots of water, lots of ammo, and first aid gear. It would probably take up way too much time to itemize this and get every single thing that you need.
This is just a basic idea to understand that there is more than a rifle and your cigar that you think you go into the range. This is in a real life situation, or we have to face a national emergency. It could be, let's say, even what happened in Ferguson. Think about if you were living in Ferguson, you had to take care of your business. You don't know when you're going to come back, home. if you're ever going to be back. You may go out for a couple of days. Let's say you have to stand off in front of your business to try to stop people try to destroy it, or they can attack your family. So you got to be prepared for situations that probably we do not think, as a regular people, thinking that the society is still working and functioning. We do not think that maybe we're going to be out for a couple of days, or maybe just, who knows, So this is important, just the idea that you must have some backup that you carry with you at least for 24, 48 hours. Now, do you think that, for example, more important weapon, it's our mindset? Because as you said, you can have the most expensive rifle out there, but if you do not have the desire to do not be a victim, the desire to survive, the desire also to be free. Because, the mindset for me is the most powerful weapon. I can be armed with a stick, with a 2x4, but if I really mean it, I'm going to be a wildcat. I'm going to use that 2x4 like in every way I can. And sometimes you have these people that they have a rifle. And I remember Katrina, okay, I was very shocked when I experienced some videos watching the news. People pretty much turning their guns just because somebody said, give me your gun, and you're in your own home. What does it mean to have a $3,000 AR-15 with the ACOG on top, and somebody all has to do say, put yourself on your knees and give me your rifle? I mean, the mindset, I was afraid to see so many Americans not having the mindset to say, this is my right. What are you doing to me? No, I'm not going to give you my gun. What is your opinion about that?
Luca, we're coming to a point in history right now that people are going to have to make up their mind and decide. There was a guy robbed, and I don't know if you heard this on my show. I think I talked about it, I believe, yesterday. He was open carrying. I don't remember what state he was in, and it was 2:30 in the morning, and he was showing his cousin his Walther P-22. And somebody walked up and had a gun in his waistband that he did not pull out of his waistband, but he showed it to the guy. And, he said, I like your gun, give it to me.
Wow.
And the guy, scared, gave him his gun, and he walked away.
Gee.
Luca, that is the mindset of too many Americans right now. Yeah. He had his gun out in his hand, and this punk come up and said, I like your gun, give it to me, and walked off with it.
Oh, my God. Yeah,
that is the mindset of way, way too many people in this country right now.
This is something serious, because unfortunately it's true. And I'm not telling you how people should think, but I think we should start, before even we buy a gun, start to have an honest conversation with ourselves. And we are human beings, don't get me wrong. Sometimes we will know each other ourselves all in the moment of the truth, but we need to have an honest conversation and start to prepare your mind. What am I going to do if that happened? And the moment if you answer to yourself, if somebody asked me to give the gun, I wouldn't even bother to buy a gun at that point. It's better you have no guns. At least we do no harm. We do not, give a weapon to another bad person. In a gunfight, there is this mindset. It's called a combat mindset. If you could, sum it up in a few phrases, what would be your opinion about this, in the combat mindset in a gunfight?
Well, your combat mindset is where your line in the sand has been crossed. You realize that the threat is real and dangerous, and you have to have the mindset to. You need to talk this over, maybe with your pastor, maybe with your dad, maybe with some elder in your group or whatever, and find out if you have the ability, the capacity, the mental capacity to take a human life. And that combat mindset is going to determine, quite frankly, if you win or lose. If you can have your mind made up prior to this happening, that's why, just like you said a while ago, you need to talk to yourself, talk about it. And I'll tell you a good movie to watch that really addresses that, and that is an old 1940-something movie with Gary Cooper called Sergeant York.
Okay. Interesting.
It's an old show. It's a good show. It's good watching. But there's a whole lot of moral issues in there that are addressed in that show, and I think it's a great show for people to watch to deal with that. When you get those mental and moral issues resolved, then you're starting to acquire that combat mindset. You need to go in there with the ability, the confidence that you're going to win.
Yeah.
that you're the one that's going home.
And no matter what happens, even if you are, no matter what happens, even if you're hit, sometimes we are so psychological brainwashed that just because we see in the movie, okay, I got hit, I'm dying. No. You still, I mean, people can still be in the fight. You should be still in the fight till your heart is still beating. This is not a video game that you can say, sorry, I missed this one. Let me do a reset button and let's do another one. In the moment that you stop fighting, you're going to be dead. Your family may be dead. I mean, there are situations that sometimes we want to avoid to talk. I mean, not me or you, but general society don't want to deal with that. Like there was this family where this man, I think it was a doctor on the East Coast, got this. I think we lost him. Let me call him back. Talking with Cope Reynolds. Love, Guns, and Freedom, and we're calling it back. Cope, are you there?
There you go. Yeah,
I lost you, man. What I was saying, the moment that we give up, we cannot afford that. Even if we get hit, even if we get, wounded, we must be in the fight because we're still alive. And the moment that we stop, we're going to lose. And we're not just going to lose our life. We may lose the life also our families. Did you ever hear that situation? There was a case a few years ago. This doctor on the East Coast, I think it was Massachusetts, I guess, or Connecticut, one of the states, and two scumbags just get out of jail and pretty much do a home invasion and beat the man down and rape his wife and his daughter, and then they burn him pretty much alive. You remember the case?
Yeah, and the man, if I remember right, the man survived that.
Yes, he survived that. How would you feel?
How would you feel, Luca?
How would you feel? And maybe the guy.
I don't know how he kept from killing himself.
I know, and it's very sad, And I'm not saying that just because you have a gun in your. I think really, if he had a gun in his holster and he had training, he would have a good chances because these people do not expect such a reaction, But for sure, exactly. At least he had a fighting chance. And, in many of these states, and I tell you, sometimes I feel sorry because I see also in Arizona that we are blessed here. We have probably the best state in the world for our Second Amendment right. I still see many people that they forget that not because you're in your house, you open the door, your gun should be parked maybe in the safe or somewhere else because a home invasion happen anywhere. And what is the best place to be your gun? Always on you and the safest. So exactly. I believe that... let's talk about that. I mean, I'm reading about home invasion even here in Mojave County too many times. And unfortunately, too many times they were older people, sometimes women, and they did not have a gun on them. What is your philosophy about self-defense in a home environment?
Well, my goodness, Luca, I mean, it's so obvious to me. Just do a quick search on home invasions and being shot in the home, man shot in bathroom, woman shot in bedroom. Just do a bunch of searches. You'll find out that there are hundreds of thousands of home invasions. Yet people get home, close their door, and maybe lock it, maybe not. Put the gun up, take a shower, get in their bathrobe and their slippers, and get a beer and sit down and watch TV and think they're safe. That's absurd to me. It's absolutely absurd. I can recite you 50 stories right off the top of my head of people that the guy just walked in off the street. Raped, killed, robbed, whatever the case may be, because the people were not armed and not expecting it, did not have that combat mindset, were not prepared.
Because you think people think, assume, I'm in my home, I'm safe. First of all, unless you live in a bunker, okay, you have probably, steel walls and double steel doors and frames, maybe you should be okay. But the point is, we do not live in that environment, and still, I think the most of the cases that you were saying is true. Home invasions, they are a big part of crime. And I say, for example, where do you carry your gun when you're home? Where do you have your gun?
I don't take it off my belt till I get ready to go to bed at night.
Dido.
I wear it 365 days a year, 15, 16, 18 hours a day. And when I take it off, when I take my pants off to go to bed, it lays on the nightstand right beside me. Luca, when I go take a shower, people think this may be paranoid. When I take a shower, if my wife is not home, my gun goes to the bathroom with me.
I agree.
That is the time that you are the most vulnerable at any point during your day. It's not while you're sleeping.
Yes.
When you're sleeping, your shotgun's right there in the corner, your handgun's on the nightstand. You got the alarm set and the door's locked and all that stuff. But when you're in the shower or in the bathroom, you are the most vulnerable that you will ever be.
You're right. It is true. And I feel exactly the same. And I'm not a paranoid person, don't get me wrong. And people say, sometimes, you're kind of extreme. Extreme what? It's like a spare tire. Now, just because I'm driving around the house, I'm not going to have a spare tire on me. I always have a spare tire on me. Otherwise, I don't put it at all. I mean, that's the bottom line. And unless you have special doors, and then I've been talking about this during the show, we need to start to reinforce a little bit our basic homes. Because unfortunately, it doesn't, the average house or apartment is pretty scary. The false sense of security that they gave us, just because there is a door, it takes like one spit and probably in less than 2 seconds to open the door. And if you are in a bathroom or you're doing something completely that puts you off guard, 2 seconds before you find your gun, you're never going to realize even where is your gun in that time period, So I believe that you're right. I feel the same. And since the moment I came to Arizona, even before I was trained, I'm trying, of course, the last few years I learned more, and I'm trying to learn every day. But the best place for me and the safest place, because you don't want to have this gun hanging around, muzzling everybody. Maybe you got kids around and you got to worry about where is your gun. It's in your holster, wherever position, and that's the most accessible. You having dinner, you having lunch. Guess what? Imagine for a moment, Cope. And I'm not wishing that to you, but, if I had to dream that has to happen to somebody, I wish, somebody like you would be the receiver. They come to your home while you're having dinner and they think, okay, everybody's at the house and they're having dinner. And the couples come back, they think it's going to be a big, easy, like walking in a candy store. That would be a nice reality check to find the homeowner sitting on his table while having dinner with his family and maybe even his kids and his wife. They all pull a gun and blast the bastards. That would be kind of
works for me.
Yeah, it would be interesting because, they don't expect that. These are cowards and they try to get you in the most intimate moment of your life. Like, for example, while you're having dinner. And honestly, listeners, tell me honestly, you don't need to tell me, but think about it. While you're having dinner, where is your gun? How far is it? And how long it would take to somebody to break the door down? That's the point. Cope.
My wife and I both carry, from the time we get up to the time we go to bed, 365 days a year.
So perfect, guys. The point is mindset. No matter what gun you have, train with that. And the more important, you are the weapon. After all, I don't care if you got single shot black powder or, of course, semi-auto is better, but you know how to use it. You got your mindset. You are the weapon. The weapon is just an extension of your body. Listen, I would like to thank you again. I would like to, first of all, give you one more time how people can reach you out. If you have a website or even a Facebook page, I know you're on Facebook. We have Facebook friends. Please go ahead, Cope.
Yeah, we've got a Facebook page. I've got a group called Dying is Not an Option, where we talk about mostly a little bit of politics and mostly training and self-defense stuff. The website right now needs some work, but it's called theshootingbench.us. The best way to get to the radio show is go to thesurvivalcircle.com. Takes you right to the chat room, and the sound starts right away. And you can call 505-349-8753 or email me at theshootingbench@live.com.
Perfect. Cope, I hope people are going to contact you. And please, guys, if you want to help him out to organize a class in your area, Cope is going to give you a great gift. Just because you help him out, you're going to get a free class. So contact Cope. Great information and a great patriot. And thank you very much, Cope. I'll be in touch with you, okay?
Luca, thank you again, my friend. I appreciate the opportunity to visit with you a little bit.
Thank you. Be in touch.
Bye-bye.
And there was a Cope Reynolds, and you're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna on K-Talks 1340 AM. This is the second hour, everything about guns, self-defense, mindset. Guess what? A little bit of a song just to pump you up a little bit, and then we go back with some great information about training.
Wake up, America, before it's too late. They're trying to make you fade away. They're trying to kill your faith. Every day you're invaded, your soil desecrated. Politicians turn their back. You're under attack. You're under attack. They're trying to erase your borders. The UN wants to give you orders. They're trying to sell your pride. It's time to wake up. Now it's time to fight. Wake up, America, before it's too late. They're trying to make you fade away. They're trying to kill your faith. The truth has died. The media bias lies. They want to divide the enemy inside. The enemy inside. Brainwashed from too much TV. You're getting weak. You're getting bleak. They're trying to sell your jobs. Please wake up now. Till there's some hope. Wake up, America. Before it's too late. They're trying to make you fade away. They're trying to kill your faith. God is being banned from our schools and from our land. We gotta fight, we gotta stand for the past, for our future, or it'll be the end. They're trying to change our constitution in the name of evolution. They have the right to kill a child. They call it the right to choose. I just call it crime. They're selling your future, but there is still hope for you, America. Now is the time to wake up and fight. Now is the time, or you will die.
We are back into the studio, and this is Luca Zanna. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom. That was Wake Up America. One of my favorite songs I wrote, that was in the CD Wake Up America, that I published and produced in 2005. It was pretty much my CD that I produced to celebrate my citizenship. That's when I became a citizen, American citizen. Anyway, so this is the second hour of the show. We talk about guns, and we had Cope Reynolds, great information, and I'd like to share. And what I would like to say here, guys, my opinion and my position about, guns, and more important, marksmanship and training. I'm a student. I consider myself like a professional student, a very dedicated student, because after all, we never stop learning. Probably I may be knowing more than many other people out there, but I always know that there is always somebody that knows more than I do. That's why I'm here. I'm trying to share what I know. More important, try to bring you people that I know they're professional teachers, instructors, and also at the same time, I like to share what I know. I have a new project I would like to share with you. It's a new website. It's called www.handguntraining.tv. handguntraining.tv. It's a website that I started it, and it's all about pretty much training with your handgun for self-defense. It's free. There's going to be free information, free videos, free also blogs, and this is going to be pretty much a website version of my new book I'm publishing. It's called Defensive Handgun by Luca Zanna. And people say, who are you to write a book, or who are you to even tell you, how to train? As I said, I'm a professional student. I dedicated many hours of my life, and I was able to find the sources, like when I train at front sight, and I'm able to at least listen and learn. And whatever I learn, I would like to make it available to law-abiding citizens, people that committed themselves to stand up for good against evil. And when people say sometimes, hey, you must be afraid, you have a gun, why do you have a gun? Exactly the opposite. I do carry a gun, sometimes more than one, because I chosen that I do not want to be afraid. I chose that I made my decision to stand between evil and good, in defense of good. And of course, I'm not looking for trouble, but at the same time, if I have to face evil, I also know that the gun is just an extension of my soul. Because at the end of the day, I am the weapon. My brain is the main weapon. The handgun or the shotgun or the rifle or even the 2x4, it is just an extension of my will to survive, defend good, and also stand up for freedom. That's why I think this is pretty much important concept. It's not about the gun, it's about yourself as a person. So that's why I'm here, you know. So go to handguntraining.tv, www.handguntraining.tv, and you will find all my blogs. And this is just started it, but I would like to have your feedback. There are going to be many, many more blogs. Pretty much it's going to be a lot of information coming directly from my coming soon handgun book. It's called Defensive Handgun by Luca Zanna. And as I said, you know, I train at front sight. I consider myself above the average. I'm distinguished, graduated several times, pretty much consistent, and I also did several advanced classes, but still, doesn't mean nothing. It's always a journey. It's always something new to learn. And that's why I'm here. I like to learn from you too. Now, I have a little bit of editorial that I found on an interesting website. It's called guns.com. And I agree with all the points. This is about 20 rules for winning gunfights. You know, many people, they may say, you know what? I hope I'm never going to be in a gunfight. And I say, you're right. The first trick to win a gunfight is try to avoid to be a gunfight. And that's why you need to be aware of your surrounding. You know, don't find yourself in that situation. But what if you are forced to fight for your life or for an innocent life? We better start to have many aspects of the training. First of all, your marksmanship, of course, your training, your physical training, your mindset, and also some ideas, you know, start to think right now. For example, first tip, be prepared to use deadly force. This is a decision that you cannot make in the moment of the need. You must decide this before. It's a very important decision about your personal, philosophical, religious, spiritual decision to take somebody else's life. Even if he's a bad person, it's still somebody else's life. Not everybody can do that. So you must be prepared and prepare yourself before. Not everybody can do that, but if you decide to do that, you better be prepared. Number 2, have a plan to kill everyone you meet. I mean, it's kind of extreme may sound, but it's true. Sometimes, you know, you must have always a plan before, because when you are in the proactive mode, it's much faster than being reactive. So always have a plan. Doesn't mean that you need to actuate it, but at least you have a plan. Then, point number 3, action is faster than reaction. For example, if someone is pointing a gun at you, you must act fast. He can pull the trigger anytime he wants, and you're pretty much going to be dead right there. But if you pretty much have a chance to act before he shoots, that's where you can pretty much try to, like we were saying before, be proactive. Then, point number 4, have a positive idea on the threat, target, and shoot. You must be really sure, you know, before you pulling the trigger. I mean, you can just start to shoot in the darkness. Let's say you hear a noise in the night, somebody outside your door, banging the door. Maybe somebody asking for help. Maybe it's a little kid playing pranks. You can just shoot. You must identify the threat and only then make an accurate decision if you need to shoot or not. And better be sure before you shoot. Rule number 5, shoot from behind cover if available. Yes, there is a very big difference between cover and concealment, okay? You want to get a hard cover. You want to stay behind some material defense, something that could pretty much stop a bullet, incoming bullet, okay? Concealment, it is not going to give you the type of defensive situation. So try always to look for cover. And of course, if you have to resort to concealment, it's better than nothing. Then, point number 6, shoot on the move. Shoot, then move, move, then shoot. let's do them all. So shoot on the move. That's very important. You don't want to be a stationary shooter, because they're going to shoot back at you, and no matter how fast you are, it's still going to be there, and the bullet's going to hit you. So you want to shoot while you're moving to become a more difficult target. Then shoot, then move, and move, then shoot. Practice all of this, okay? When you think you're at the range, you're shooting little paper target, just, the basic marksman, position, relaxing, taking your time. That doesn't make you a gunfighter, okay? Number 7, don't turn your back on the threat. Never turn your back on the threat. No matter if it's a dog, a wild dog, or a bad person. You always must face into the eyes the evil, and because at least you know what's going on. Number 9, do not hesitate. Hesitate, is going to takes that split second time that pretty much is going to kill you. There is I think it was a John Wayne movie, I remember. It was one of these oldest movies I watched when I was still in Italy. I was a kid. And in the movie, I remember John Wayne said, let's see if I remember right, how he said, I may not be the faster, may not be the stronger, but, I'm not going to flinch when I'm going to shoot you. I'm not going to hesitate. And that's exactly the point, Number 10, never give up your weapon, okay? Beside the police officer tell you to drop your gun, nobody else, you should follow nobody else. Somebody tell you, give me your gun, forget about it, okay? At that point, as I said before with Cope, if you give up your gun like this, you better don't give it to, you don't even better not buy it at all. Start to think about it. Point number 11, start to practice on the shooting center mass, okay? For many reasons. Center mass is a good area where there are all the good stuff, all the very sensitive organs, and also under stress is going to try to get pretty much easier to shoot and hit the target. Point number 12, know your ballistics and pretty much your ammunition. Be sure if you're shooting some ammunition that may over-penetrate, and, in which environment you're going to carry that gun, be sure that you're not a liability. Be sure that your ammunition is going to do the job and is not going to become dangerous to others. Let's say you're shooting at somebody with a full metal jacket, high-power handgun, like a 357, and at that point, you see the bullet zipping through the body of that aggressor, and somebody else behind is going to get hit. You must know exactly what type of ammunition you're shooting. Point number 13, shoot until the threat stops. There is a lot of saying about that, 2 shots and stop. Normally, control pair. I agree that's a good way, because the idea we want to control and stop the threat. But at the same time, what if you shoot 2 rounds and this aggressor still keep coming or keep shooting, and you mentally, you are trained to shoot 2 rounds and stop? I think it's time to pretty much have a little bit of diversification in the training. I like the control pair, but also like to do pretty much a 6-shot rhythm drill. That means boom, 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 boom. And of course, hopefully you have an extra mag, or you have an extra clip, or whatever you need to have, but you have extra ammo, okay? Because you don't want to unload a gun on somebody and then you have more threats coming. You have no ammo. Okay, so this is pretty much some basic, okay? And there is much more. All I'm saying, guys, for me, the handgun, as I said, is a tool, and it's not even just a science. Learning the handgun as a weapon, as a martial art, is between a science and also is an art. Because tactics, for example, it is not a science, it's an art, it's a mix. You're not going to be having the specific mathematical situation every time the same. You must also use your sixth sense. You must use your experience. You must use your brain. Every time may change and may pretty much be a different thing. As I was saying before with my friend Cope, how many ammo should you get? Cope said pretty much, a basic starting point, and I agree, 500, 600, 1,000 rounds for the rifle, at least to start. I go a little bit more aggressive on that, because I believe also ammunition is always a commodity. And if things get really nasty, especially if you have a caliber of a rifle that may be hard to get, it's never going to be enough ammo, okay? So when people ask me how much ammo should I buy, my answer is pretty much simple. As much as you can afford after you pay your basic bills. Then, as much as your floor can handle the weight. I like cement floors. And this was the second hour for Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna. So don't forget, go to, first of all, my main website for the radio show, www.lovegunsfreedom.com, and I invite you also, of course, to check it out, the archives, and go to the new website where you can find every very good information and blogs and video that I'm going to start to upload very soon about handgun training. And the website is www.handguntraining.tv. Okay, now ready for the final hour. It's going to be about love, and I have a special guest. Her name is, I'm not going to tell you her name. I told you before. Let's see if you remember. She's a beautiful lady, very smart. She's an artist, and she's single, by the way. But she has very specific requests. She doesn't want just to have everybody. She likes her time. She likes her privacy. She likes her space. But why not? Maybe she also said that she would like to have a special person, but must be a very special person. And she used to work in Hollywood. She also, just to let you know, she's a makeup artist. She's a filmmaker. And also she's a painter. I mean, she's an artist in visual art. She's an amazing lady. She's very smart. She's very spiritual. So check it out. Don't go away. Stay tuned. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna on Guerrilla Media Network.
Have you ever met someone on an online dating site and thought, wow, this guy is perfect for me, or she is simply amazing, only to find out they were hiding a deep, dark secret? They plan to vote for Hillary. FreedomLovers.us was created for singles who want to exchange ideas and who love for freedom. People who are looking for solutions to create and defend freedom in the real world, and at the same time getting that once-in-a-lifetime chance to find their true soulmate. Whether you are interested in meeting your soulmate, making new friends, networking, or hanging out with that like-minded liberty lover, visit FreedomLovers.us. It's the first free dating site and community. So patriots, don't waste your time with other dating sites. FreedomLovers.us is the place where like-minded singles really click.
You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna on Guerrilla Media Network. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna on K-Talks 1340 AM and on Guerrilla Media Network. This is the final hour of today's show. And normally I like to talk about things that could be a little bit different from our topics, our guests, and the different things we're talking during the show. Of course, freedom, guns. This is about love, but also is about freedom. And also is about Facebook. Because normally, I understand Facebook is some sort of instrument of control that they try to control and pretty much use this information to, we admit exactly what we are and we create a profile about ourselves. But I believe there is a good side of Facebook. The good side is that we can use this instrument to find each other and to find like-minded people that we do not need to agree on everything. But for sure, we have a lot of things we agree. And I find a great part of humanity that I'm really excited and I would never had a chance to meet. And today, it's an incredible lady, good-looking, beautiful lady for starter. I'm not trying to be kind of romantic, but it's true. This is, after all, is a show called Love, Guns, and Freedom. It is not just about guns and freedom. So I like always to find beautiful women that not only they are beautiful face, but I believe really they have a great brain and they also have a lot of integrity when it comes down also especially to freedom and to our beliefs. Today, I would like to introduce it to you. This is a beautiful, incredible lady. Her name is Alicia Hays. Alicia, are you there?
Hey, how are you doing? It was so sweet.
Did I play enough violin here? Do I need some violin? I will add later. Okay. Anyway, no, it's
That's
true.
great.
It's true. I really believe
One
that.
of the nicest introductions I've ever had.
No, this is true. I believe that. I believe that, men and women, we are here together. We try to do our job as a human beings to try to, it's a choice. This is not about sometimes understand what's going on, but we have a choice to make. We will stand for good, or we will be silent, or we will just help evil to flourish. And I believe right now, every one of us, depends on our trades, everybody has a different skills, try to do their part, at least the people that want to do something. And I really respect you because, first of all, I know that you're not just a woman that is from Hollywood and is into movies, but also you're trying to use your trade to try to spread a message. And I think it's beautiful. And normally, I hate when people try to always, stereotype the blonde, dumb woman. The women blonde can be, very beautiful and smart. So you are exactly the example that whatever they're saying about blonde is wrong. You're incredible, beautiful, and also you're very smart, in my opinion. So here we go.
Thank you.
Who is Alicia Hays? Tell us.
Oh, you're asking me?
Yes, I'm asking you. And by the way, before
your accent kind of threw me off there for a second.
I
Who
know.
is Alicia Hays?
Who is Alicia
Actually,
Hays?
am I?
Yes, my English-British accent brought you off a little
I am
bit.
so sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, first and foremost, I'm a lover of the Lord. I love God. I love freedom, obviously, and I love my country. And notwithstanding, obviously, my family. But my family and my faith and love of country is what really makes me who I am as a person.
Mm-hmm.
The gifts that I have as far as my talents, those are obviously, God-given. Well, I appreciate those. I've often had people say, well, that's what really defines you, but I don't think it does. I have spent many nights. I think the thing that you think about before you go to sleep, the last thing that you think about, is the thing that means the most to you. And what I think about the most before I go to bed is America.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say that's what I used to think about maybe 10, 15 years ago before I went to bed, because things were in my world seemed to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until it was threatened that I realized what was at stake and that something meant so much to me. I realized how much it meant to me when it was at risk of being lost. And that's my liberty and my freedom. I know probably I'm sometimes long-winded. You asked me a question of who Alicia Hays is, but I'm just a person that loves to create. I love my family. I'm not that complicated, I don't think. I'm pretty simple. And I love my country.
Alicia, it's good also, because sometimes people think, everybody's coming from the Hollywood business, entertainment business, some sort of a stereotype. And I really believe that this is not true. And that's why I would like to also give a little bit about your background. You've been doing so many different things in Hollywood. And why don't you give us a little bit of a short resume, what you've been doing when you were in Hollywood?
Well, if you want to start there, when I actually got to Los Angeles, I originally started in radio on air when I was 19 in Northwest Arkansas. I went from there to Chicago, working in radio at the #1 radio station, WGCI 107.5. I was there for 3 years, and I left WGCI to go out to Los Angeles and pursue my broadcasting career, because I wanted to do voiceover as well and pursue acting. So I thought this was a good little mix. Well, the fact that I'm a painter, I've been drawing and painting ever since I was really little. When I got up to LA, it was like, wow, this is a crazy town, I mean, being from Arkansas. And I just felt like I was kind of thrown into the den of wolves, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to find my way. Things are very expensive. So the very first thing I did is I ended up getting a job as a cocktail waitress.
Mm-hmm.
I bartended, you know. And I was working on a film as an extra. And this one girl that I had met was a makeup artist. And she just happened to be an actress as well and was also working on this film, or in this film. And the makeup artist was less than desirable, I should say. And I made a comment to this girl who's an actress, who's also a makeup artist. I said, wow, I could totally do this. And she said, well, why don't you? And I said, I don't have a license to do makeup. And she said, you don't need a license to do makeup. You only need a license if you work in a salon. So I was like, oh, wow, that's cool. Well, my first client as a makeup artist was Larry King, and I met him through a friend of mine who was a makeup artist who was working on his show. So that's how I got involved in makeup, because for me as an artist, you know, it's, the face is just a different canvas versus, you know, an actual, you know, board or actual canvas itself. And it's just mixing of colors, and it's something that I have a great understanding of. So I worked in that, but while I was on set, I knew I wanted to do something much more than that. I enjoyed makeup, but I wanted to do something much more than that. I wanted to act in films, but I also wanted to make films, direct. So every time I was on set, I used it as a classroom. So everybody else was at craft services, or they're like reading a book, because back then when I first started, cell phones, only the directors and producers had those great big, I guess, brick Motorola phones. So while they were doing that, I was watching everything and absorbing everything that was around me, from the costume designers to the director of photography to cinematographers to first ADs, you know, the directors, producers, what they did, script supervisors, the electrics, the jib operators, the dolly grips, like all these people I would watch. So when they would block a shot or light a scene, I would watch what they would do. And I was like, oh, so that's how they achieved that look, after I get to watch the dailies. And dailies are the footage that they shot for that day, you know.
Wow.
So, yeah.
You know what? So me to interrupt you. I was, we've been Facebook friends for a while, and I've been following your post, and then I go to your website, and I start to, it's like almost it's a different virtual world that we never met in person, but seems like we know a lot about each other. And I find it is amazing, because I was, one thing I really was fascinated about you. I'm not saying that, we have the same, we have different paths, of course, but, you came from Arkansas and you came to Los Angeles, and for me it was the first landing spot when I came from Italy. So when you said it's sort of a den of wolves, I pretty much understand at least enough what's going on there. And I was even in the movie business. I just wanted to be myself. I came to America. I'm not into acting. I wanted just to do my business, and I wanted just to be free. That was my only goal. But I understand what you went through, because I've been working, my first few years I was in Hollywood. I was exactly, I don't know if you know the place, it used to be called Mirabel. On Sunset Strip. I was my first.
I know exactly where that's at.
Maybe we cross each other. I used to be there. I was in charge of.
I believe it's still there.
I think changed name, I guess. Maybe for sure ownership, but.
Is it right? Is it right by where Tower Records used to be, like kind of at that corner?
Yes. You can see
I know exactly what you're talking about.
That was my first gig. Before I started my business. I spent about 14 months. Learning English in front of in this club. I was lucky to know the owner, and he liked me, and he put me in charge of the door. I was some sort of, enjoying the crowd. That was my job.
That wasn't Tramps, was it?
No, it wasn't Tramps, but West Hollywood. It was a regular
Do you remember that place?
No, this was Mirabelle. It was kind of a bar and a little more sophisticated, but it was kind of crazy for me coming from. Even Rome is a big city. I'm kind of a small country guy. Anyway, so it was my first. So I was noticing about that, and then I was looking at also the different things you do. Not only you're into this reality of makeup, like painting on human bodies, but then also you really go into this real painting, and then also you have this book of poetry that I really enjoy myself, writing my little emotions and feelings. So, and also, of course, even we may have our differences, but we believe in freedom, and we are pretty much on the same page on many issues. So it's kind of funny to find sometimes people that never met each other, but we've been doing a sort of a similar path. For example, I'm here right now on your book, Vero. By the way, I would like, first of all, please say your website, because your accent is better than mine. Give your website out so people can get it.
Well, I have 3.
Let's start with a couple.
I have alicia-ayes.com.
Okay.
Is where you can see my work, where I make short films. There is artist, alicia-ayes.com, where you can see my paintings. And then, of course, there is MissLibertyAmerica.com, which I believe, didn't you say you visited that website? MissLibertyAmerica.com.
I don't know. I think I went there too, but now I was looking.
I think we spoke on Facebook, and that's one of the reasons we connected, because you liked the idea of that show.
Yes. Yes, I was also that. Yes.
So there's those 3 websites, but the main 2 would be alicia-ayes.com and artist-alicia-ayes.com.
Okay. Now, question. Normally, this is the last hour of the show that is normally for me about, it's more intimate moments of our humanity that I like to share with the listeners. Normally I talk about recipes, we talk about love, we're talking about different things, but this is like a blend with you. Why don't you do something? I know that you have a lot of beautiful, interesting poems, and I was reading some of them. Do you have one that you would like to share with our listeners out of your book, so people can also know your side of a poetess? You know what? Like a muse.
Now you should be aware of this.
Tell me.
Okay. It's very difficult to choose a favorite painting or a favorite poem.
Okay.
Because these are so much intrinsically part of who I am. So I don't have children, but it'd be kind of like, well, share with us your favorite child.
Okay. Guess what? I can choose it for you, and I also could read it for you, but I don't want to distort it with my accent. I thought it would be better from out of your voice.
Well, let me, hold on one second here. Let me just,
I like Luna. I was reading Luna before. Moon.
What's that?
Luna. Luna. Translated means moon.
Let me just, I should have, one second. I don't want to, I know we're on the air here.
Okay.
But I actually wanted to just look at it, because I don't have it in front of me. I don't have them all memorized. I think I have over 100 of them.
Okay, yes.
Let me just, is it okay if I look that up real quick?
Yeah, I can read it for you if you want to. I mean, and let's see if
Okay.
Okay, Luna. This is a poem by Alicia Hays, played by Mr. Luca Zanna. So, don't blame me for the accent, okay? This is the way I read it.
Okay.
In the dark of night, you lead the way. You hide in brightness of the day. Oh, sweet orb, reveal your light. Hush the blindness from my sight. Luna by Alicia Hays.
Aw, you did very nice.
Was it right?
The one yes, very nice. Yeah.
So I like your book. This is something that people I would like to invite to go, because you can go on their website, and you can see, at least preview the first 15 pages of the book. And the best way to reach your book is through the website alicia-ayes.com, and there is in the filmmaker about Alicia, you can see all her biography, and also there are some interesting links about Vero, a book of poetry, and I find it very interesting. And also you see painting here. Painting, I'm thinking about kitchen. Painting, okay? And there is another link dedicated with the painting. So you also do paintings, right?
Yes, I've been drawing ever since I was, I guess since I could hold a crayon in my hand. Yeah, I actually asked my mom, I think I might have been 6 years old or 7, and I asked her to draw Snoopy for me. And she would do it. She said, draw it yourself.
Wow.
And of course, I got really frustrated because my mom is also an artist. My uncle, who has passed away, his name is Tom Ray. He worked out in Hollywood in Los Angeles. He worked for many years. He was an animator. So I've got a lineage of artists, I guess, in my family.
Yes, I read that. I read that in your bio. Interesting. You gotta. This is true. We are pretty much the results of different DNA blended together, and I really believe. By the way, I really like the way you paint this sort of a pop art with Marilyn. It's kind of amazing. I really like it a lot.
It's very popular. That sold really quickly.
Yeah,
that
Audrey,
particular painting.
beautiful. I mean, it's really good. I mean, really, guys, if you're listening, this is a radio show. Unfortunately, we don't have the video in front of us, but I will put a link. Please, if you go to today's show, go to lovegunsfreedom.com, and when you click on today's show, I will put not only the broadcast in the archive, but also a link to alicia-ayes.com. And when you go there, you can see, first of all, the beautiful face of Alicia and all the beautiful paintings that she has, and the link to her book. So it's kind of interesting. And yes, this is kind of definitely, it's, in Italy we used to say normally some sort of almost Renaissance woman you are. Okay.
That's nice.
Now, Alicia, what are you doing in Arkansas there? What's going on? Why you left Hollywood?
The most important thing, really, outside of being able to be free and express yourself, is family. And, I thought, I can do whatever I want to do right where I want to be. And where I want to be is in Arkansas with my family.
Nice.
So, because of the technology that we have,
yes,
I'm able to do all those things from a place of love, where I have my family. I'm very fortunate to still have my mother and my father in my life.
Yes, this is great. This is very true. And I feel the same, I mean, for me, the internet represents like the last frontier of freedom, because all my, businesses and things I've been doing, I didn't need to have any more a specific place. All I wanted to do be in the place that I enjoy for my life. That's why I chose Arizona, and I pretty much emigrated from California a long time ago. But beside that, it's true, today you can express yourself, and you can pretty much do the things you want to do, being close to the things you like. In this case, the family, I really believe, is the most important thing. You're very, look guys, we have not only a beautiful woman, but also she got great values, and she got a family that she cares. So now, I don't want to sound kind of pushy or question privately, that is your business, and we didn't discuss this before the show, but you can always say, look, I don't want to talk about this, and I'm not going to take it personally. Are you single?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Very single.
Very single.
And yes.
Wow.
And well, why I say that, and it's not to disparage men in any way, and it's unfortunate in society that I have to put as a prerequisite that I'm not gay either.
Okay.
But I am not gay. I think men are wonderful. But for me, I have so much going on, in my life, and I have a mission to fulfill.
I understand.
I see our men and women fighting for freedom. The fight for freedom never ends, but life does every day.
You're right.
And I have to do my part, and I cannot give up, because I feel like if I give up, I'm giving up on my country, my freedom, the military. You know, I just saw the film American Sniper. Wow, you know, I mean, this guy never relented.
Let me ask you something.
Of course, that's me.
Let me ask you something. You know, I understand what you're saying because, you know, many people, even in the past history, for example, look at many artists, Leonardo da Vinci or Michelangelo. I mean, when you are pretty much taken by that sort of almost like a fire, okay, that is inside you, and you realize, like also when you are, let's put it this way, let's say people like really believe in, you know, serving the Lord, like monks or things like that, they really, I'm not talking about the perverse. I'm talking about the people that really want to do it right. You know, it's difficult to have a time also that you share between, you can serve two masters. You cannot be sometimes be a good family man or family woman at the same time fulfill your destiny for the call that you have. I understand that part. At the same time, it's also always a sacrifice if you think about it, because, you know, you have also your part of humanity that, you know, as much as we are fulfilled by our own things that we like to do, I'm sure that even you, unless you are Captain Spock, you know, from Enterprise, as a human being, you have a heart and you have needs of human affection and things like that. So how do you fulfill that?
My little Bella. I have a little 4-pound Maltese, you know, and she is just my world. My little dog.
Oh my gosh, I see now, okay.
She's always with me. And you know, I know this is going to sound silly, and I know what question you're asking, but I get so much fulfillment from my family, my mom and my dad.
Okay.
Again, when my little hamster in the wheel upstairs in my head never stops.
Okay.
When I go to sleep, it's like that's actually when I'm the most awake. I mean that, you know, metaphorically, but it's the wheels never stop turning. I'll stay up till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
Me too.
That is my algorithm in my body, and I'll sleep till maybe 11 o'clock. So I've only got 5 hours of sleep.
Yes.
Donald Trump once said that he only sleeps 4 to 5 hours. Now, I'm not comparing myself with that man, but we do have that one thing in common.
I understand.
That one specific thing. And I respect him a lot.
This is true.
There's so much to do. I've got so much to do. I mean, I write with the films that I'm doing, I write the music, I edit it, I shoot it, and some of them I've acted in it, but I do everything in it because I'm very particular about how everything is done, you know. So, and it takes a lot of time. And the thing is, the ideal man for me, really, because of course, you know, there's a part of me, of course, I would like to have someone by my side. But the perfect person would be someone that is in the military. Because they're not home a lot. And I'm okay. and I don't cheat.
Okay.
I don't cheat.
All right.
You see what I mean? So I'm the perfect candidate for someone that is in the military.
Okay, let's put the word out then. Military people, you understand what's going on here? Okay. Excellent. Listen,
you're funny.
I have before we go into politics, because I like to talk to you. We know each other. We have things that we pretty much the first time really we talk. So it's kind of interesting. I really like that. And as I said, you know, by the way, before I go ahead, what is your astrology, your zodiac sign? What is your sign?
I'm a Leo.
Leo, okay, so...
Do you find that hard to believe?
Yes, because I thought a little bit more of a water sign, I thought, you know, especially with your...
Oh, no, I'm triple Leo.
Wow, interesting, because I've
got a lot of fire in my chart.
I share the same type of biorhythms normally. I like night, for me, it's kind of like another day. It's some day. Night is the moment most of my creativity comes out at night. I write my songs, and I write my things and prepare my shows and whatever I need to. I also write my paintings sometimes, even of course, can be paint my paintings, even it's dark, but I like night. Before we go ahead.
I don't know how much credibility there is in it, but someone did my chart many years ago, and they said that my moon which dictates your, what was it they said, I guess how you see things.
Mm-hmm.
That my moon is in Gemini, so that's the twins. So I either really love something or I completely have disdain for it. There's really no middle ground with me.
Okay.
So, and I'm committed or I'm completely indifferent. I love you or I'm indifferent.
I understand.
There is no,
I understand.
Yeah.
Good.
That's kind of true, though, about me.
Listen, since we played one of your poems before, now I'm going to play one of my poem, and I'll dedicate it to you, of course, just with
oh, yay.
a platonic form of, and also for my listeners, of course, okay? So this is a kind of intimate moment on the show. Normally, this is things we talk about. And it's funny because, the idea for me to put this show in so completely different topics, first hour it's about conspiracy, understanding our rights and all these things, very serious, martial law, new world order, blah, blah, blah. Second hour, guns and things. And then out of the blue we go into poetry or love. Because the idea is, as I said many times, first of all, we must enjoy our life. Otherwise we already lose. If the moment that we live in fear, and we do not appreciate the things that we have, and one of the first things we have, it's love, and also our humanity. And also to give the idea that not every gun owner out there, it is in the stereotype form of universe, they think just because you're into guns, you must be, a redneck with a bayonet between, your teeth. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. If you like to do that, that's great. But we like also to talk about different things that normally put people off a little bit off, oh my God, what is he talking about? Let me play this song for you. See this poem. This is called For You, okay? Music and lyrics by myself, but it's a poem, okay?
For you, I would like to be a tear, born from your eyes, live on your face, die on your lips. For you, I would like to be an angel, always staying by your side, never leave you alone in the darkness of this life. For you, I would like to be the wind, blowing softly through your hair, caressing you all night, sailing together in the sky. For you, I would like to be the ocean, let you swim to my arms, let you sink into my love, never leave you alone. For you, I would like to be the world and everything to you, but tonight I'm just a man, and I love you.
And that was For You, music. Even the music is mine, but mostly the lyrics. This is a poem after.
Oh, but we just met.
So anyway, this is dedicated tonight,
Very nice.
today
Thank
to Alicia
you.
Hays and everybody out there who believes in love and freedom, okay? So I don't want to sound too much like I'm just trying to hit on Alicia, okay? Otherwise it seems like, oh my gosh, what are you doing, Luca? This is dedicated to Alicia and to every woman out there who believes in freedom and love and family, okay? So that's the story. Now, interesting, I really invite everybody to go to alicia-ayes.com. We're talking here with Luca and Alicia Hays on the air on Love, Guns, and Freedom, the final hour of the show. Pretty much this is a talk about everything, about love, about philosophy, about humanity, and also about, of course, politics a little bit. Now, Alicia, let's go in things that, I don't say we disagree, but we may have maybe different twists on the same beliefs. For example, you were saying about, military. And don't get me wrong, you know where I'm from. I'm from Anzio, and my family was rescued during World War II by American soldiers. So I have the utmost respect of American soldier, so much that when I came to America, in 1998, when I was pretty much still deciding what I wanted to do when I came here, my first few months, there is, at least there was, in Hollywood, I forgot the name, it was a recruiting office, and I went there, and I said, you know what, I want to join the army. Because I was already 28, I was too old for the Marines, okay, at least it was my last time, I was pretty much old. So I was ready to join the army. Because for me it was some sort of, let's say, like almost a debt, of blood. I wanted to give something back to the country that pretty much sacrificed a lot for my family when we were running around chased by the Germans. Then I started to learn about something. Because, I was always curious about American history and what exactly is going on the last at least 50 years in America. I learned this word, global government, New World Order. And I was able to find out about a military soldier man, a private, Mr. Michael New, 1992. Did you ever heard about him?
Michael who?
New. N-E-W. Michael New. Anyway,
No.
let me give you the short story, because this man really inspired me to understand that I could not join at the time the military. The last war America fought, declared by the Constitution, that means a war that is declared by Congress, and we believe in the Constitution, was World War II. Okay? After World War II, every conflict wasn't anymore a war, was a conflict, okay? Under the United Nations approval, and for example, starting from Korea, and everything after Korea, there was no more declaration of Congress, okay? It was completely a new type of conflict. That's so much that they call it war now, but it is not a war. The only war we have was supposed to be according
it's called
to
a conflict.
Yeah, so it's a conflict. Now, Michael New was a very interesting story, and I talk about him on my show many times. And I give you the short story. It was under the Clinton administration. This guy was a private, and he was deployed, ready to go to Serbia, I guess, at the time, as under the United Nations. And he was asked to remove his American flag and to put on his United Nations blue patch.
Excuse me?
Yes. Yes, this is
Hold on a second. Are you saying that this Michael New was an Army private?
Yes, and he was
asked.
Yes, he was
take
asked.
Off that uniform. He was sworn in the military to defend his country against foreign enemies, foreign and domestic enemies.
He was asked to serve.
And then he was told to take off that uniform and put on a
Yes.
UN uniform?
Yes. This is, by the way, I will send you the link, and I'll always post. I would like to. I'm trying to work with him.
Is this guy alive?
He's still alive. By the way, he got court-martial, dishonorable discharge, and the guy he made a case. He said, "Listen, I took an oath to serve America under the American command. I never said that I was going to serve under a foreign government command." And this was exactly...
that's treasonous anyway.
Yeah, I know, but guess what? Unfortunately, this was the only guy that he had at least the strength to make his point. He was court-martialed. He had to go through a lot of harshness because they went after him and they threw the book at him. And this, by the way, is all you have to do is put on Google, wherever you use your search engine.
I will.
Michael New, United Nations. You can see exactly the different information. And now, of course, they tried to pretty much forget about him. And his life was ruined. And now when I learned about that, I say, wait a second. If I join the army tomorrow, and I've been asked the same thing, to go in a conflict that, first of all, I believe in the Constitution. I took an oath, even I was not a military, but when I became a citizen, my oath was to uphold the Constitution. And out of the blue, you tell me now that I need to go out there and serve. And I have another oath when I become a soldier, and then I need to serve, a global government? Because that's what you do. When you go under United Nations command, first of all, he was completely the general in charge. I think it was a British. Okay, number one. And then you serve in a foreign entity, the United Nations. So I'd say, no, I cannot do that. Even the National Guard, that you think, okay, you join the National Guard and you serve your area, your state. No. You know that since the Bush administration, the National Guard is being federalized. And now you have the National Guard guarding the borders, not of your state, but of Iraq or maybe Afghanistan. And that was not the purpose of our National Guard. So when I learned all these things, and I learned this magic word that is not a conspiracy anymore, it's been said many, many times by different politicians, New World Order, I said, you know what, my oath to defend this republic, I commit myself to do it here as a citizen, in my city councils, in my community where I live, try to share the things that I'm learning with my fellow Americans. And this is the place why most of our soldiers, they're shipped overseas away from us, because they got the best of us away from us when we needed the most here in our country. Because I don't know if you remember Ulysses, when he came back home after 20 years, his home was taken over by the traders. And that's why, because when the boss is out, when they say when the cat is on vacation, the rats, they're jumping out there in the kitchen, okay? So that's what's happening here. We have most of our men and women that they probably the most, dedicated to this country. They ship them out away, thousands of miles away, and then when they come back, they make them declare them domestic terrorists because they are afraid that they know the truth, and they also have the guts to stand up for this country. So that is pretty much my story about. That's why I say, and it's not that I do not support the military, but I also realize that they've been using our soldiers as pawns of this new United Nations global government. So that's the story, unfortunately. What do you think about this?
Well, I find it unbelievable, number one.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been an advocate for completely removing the United States out of the UN
Mm-hmm.
and telling them, you know what? Hasta la vista. We don't need you.
Yes.
I'm serious.
I agree with you.
We don't need you. Don't want you.
Yes.
Good riddance.
I agree with you completely.
Bye-bye.
Unfortunately,
Okay?
the reality,
And where I agree with you in certain terms. I believe that we need our military
Yes.
in certain areas of the world. I hear people talk about our military is occupying other countries. We're not occupying. For instance, we're not at war with Japan,
Mm-hmm.
and we have troops there. We're not at war with Germany, and we have troops there. They're protecting our interests. Should the winds shift in an unfavorable political way, we are prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I like the fact that we have Alaska. I like the fact that we have Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that we have Hawaii. Now, if you look, here's how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at the United States, okay, we are the sweet spot on the globe. And let me describe this to you, okay? If you can visualize pretty good, right?
Yes, I'm listening, yes.
If you just look at the United States and where we sit, we have Canada to the north
Mm-hmm.
and Mexico to the south.
Yes.
To the west, we have the Pacific Ocean, and to the east, we have the Atlantic.
Mm-hmm.
Wide open seas. So since we have Alaska, we have our military in Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
We have our military base in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
We have military bases in Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
So we are situationally very prepared. So if my brother was in the Navy and he was on a frigate.
Mm-hmm.
So we have these frigates that protect the aircraft carriers that are out in the ocean. If there's any kind of missiles that are coming this way, they'll be shot way out before they ever hit our shores. So
Right.
we're very protected, and I like that.
I agree
When
with
look
you.
at any,
But
when you look at any other nation,
mm-hmm.
they do not have those types of advantages.
Yes.
Now, someone could say Australia. Now, Australia is an island. It doesn't really have any major threats, so to speak, around it. But I believe that country is inhabited, I think it's on the the East Coast. And that the majority of that country is not really inhabited. Am I correct?
Yes, no, listen, I completely agree with you. The fact that this is also what's called the Monroe Doctrine, this is our sphere of interest, the North American part, as you also the oceans that we have left and right. That's completely understandable, and that's exactly where we need most of our soldiers. For example, our open borders, the south border, the north border, completely, don't exist anymore.
They definitely could be protected, but I think that I understand what you're saying. I believe that our border should be secure.
Mm-hmm.
Not just, there's this narrative that it's about keeping quote-unquote Mexicans and illegal immigrants that are Mexican
I'm talking
coming over into the United States.
I'm talking about foreign troops.
That's what the narrative that's being
Mm-hmm.
pushed, and so we're looking really bad because, we don't like Mexicans, Hispanics. That's not the case. What's happening is that the rest of the world, or the enemies of America and freedom,
Mm-hmm.
see that opening.
Exactly, exactly.
A weakness
into
the United States. And it wasn't until 2001 when the Twin Towers came tumbling down that we realized what our weaknesses are.
Listen, that's exactly my point. Think about it. We have, since World War I, for example, Mexico was aiding Germany, and they were trying to infiltrate, forces. And think about if you were a foreign country like China or Iran or whatever. Okay, anybody doesn't like this country. What would be the best way to infiltrate like in Norway during World War II? Germany took over Norway without firing a shot because 6 months ahead they infiltrated with over 20,000 soldiers undercover, and they pretty much blended with the population, and they were able to destroy all the infrastructure and take over the country. This is something about national security, and we cannot rely on the Mexican government to think that they're going to take care of our security. And that's why what I'm saying, we have, for example, we spend so much money. And you know that in North Korea and South Korea, we go there, and not even a rat can jump that barbed wire, okay? There is nothing can go through. Why can we not defend the same way we defend the South Korea borders, our borders, when we have real threats, beside the immigration, probably that another big threat too on top. But I'm talking about really also national security problem. Tomorrow, I remember years ago, there was an activist friend of mine out of southern of Arizona border. He did a video about 10 years ago, having a backpack, crossing the Arizona border on the backpack, and then jumping on the highway and walking all the way in front of the Capitol, Arizona State Capitol. And in the back of the backpack, there was a sign, nuclear, like, radioactive. Think about it.
Wow, okay.
I got a video of that. There's a video. That was 10 years ago, okay? And the border is still like that. So we have some serious problem to take care before even we go into any other issue. That's my point. We need soldiers here. And I don't know if you ever heard about a general that I think it is very important, and I really like to talk about him, General Butler. Did you ever heard about him?
No.
Oh,
but I wanted to make a comment.
Yes, go ahead. Please go ahead.
Because I'd like to ask you what you think about this.
Tell me.
We're talking about border security.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of people that are in our government, in this administration. People, they're stupid. I can't believe that they're not doing that, and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
It's intentional. This is not some, we're stupid and we don't know what we're doing. This is intentional.
Yes.
If anyone knows who George Soros is,
mm-hmm.
okay, individuals like that who have collapsed governments, he's actually very good at it.
Yes.
If anybody understands who the Bilderberg Group is, now I will say this
mm-hmm.
before I continue. I am not a conspiracy theorist. I don't believe in that. I believe in fact.
Mm-hmm.
So people can make their hypotheses off of what I say, which is fact. For instance, George Soros is a real person.
Yes, it's a fact.
That is a fact. George Soros is a multi-billionaire, and that is a fact. Okay? George Soros has collapsed governments. That is a fact.
Mm-hmm.
George Soros is a left-wing Marxist liberal. That is a fact. If you take a look at the Bilderberg Group and the members of the Bilderberg Group, that is not hyperbole. That is not just pulling that out of thin air. Those are facts. Those are real members.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if you take the international banks,
yes,
who make up the majority of the Federal Reserve,
yes, this is private.
Those are real banks
yes.
with real people,
mm-hmm.
and they are the ones that are controlling what's going on.
You're right, and this is exactly what we're talking about. Since 1954, I guess, the Bilderberg Group, it is nothing.
And we had our leaders. We had, I believe, Thomas Jefferson. And, I got to say something now.
Go ahead.
Now, I don't know if you feel that this means anything, but Lincoln wanted to eradicate the Federal Reserve. What happened to him?
Oh, he got shot. And of course, even Kennedy.
Yeah, and they put coins. Now, I know they say that's something that they always did, but I still think that's kind of...
there was an executive order.
Apropos for the time.
Yes.
And, yeah.
And so,
Kennedy
the same story.
spoke out against a global government, and also spoke out against this group called the Illuminati, and he was also shot and killed.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's interesting coincidence.
No, it's not a coincidence. People must see that there is an executive order by President Jeff Kennedy exactly 2 weeks before he was shot, that is pretty much he was going to take back control of the currency from the Federal Reserve. So this is something very important, and this is not a conspiracy. The Federal Reserve, I talked about this many times, it is not federal, it's a private bank. They pretty much took over our control of our currency.
The Federal Reserve is just as federal as Federal Express.
Exactly. Now, I would like to remind you of those two keywords, because, I like that. We're talking about things that, I learned from you, and maybe I can share a couple of things I learned in my last few years. One thing is a keyword that I will also send you a link, and you can do a research about that. The name of the general I was talking about, it is one of the most decorated generals, Butler, is exactly Smedley D. Butler. He wrote this book. It's called War is a Racket. And this guy was in the early 1930s, and he said the soldiers should be used only in two situations. One, to defend our borders, or our special interest in our area where we live. And second one is to defend our Bill of Rights. Something to look into that. And then the other person I really have a lot of respect, and, he opened for me all this conspiracy. There wasn't a conspiracy at all, but at the beginning I couldn't believe it, was about Private Michael New. There was exactly an Army specialist, E4 Michael G. New. And this was exactly in the 90s under Clinton. And this guy, his life was ruined, because he has to dishonorable discharge, court-martial, and you will find out all about him. So this is something interesting. So, and this is good because, we must understand they're using us. They're using our soldiers also for interest that, unfortunately, they're no more interest just of the American people, but they're interest of, like you were saying, a selected group of elite, mostly bankers, that pretty much use our name, our reputation, our blood, under the umbrella of the United Nations for their interest.
It's a great Ponzi scheme, isn't it?
It is, and we pay for that.
It's one of the most brilliant Ponzi schemes ever invented.
Something different.
And when they fail, they just come right back to the taxpayer.
Exactly. Let's change for a moment conversation. What do you like about music? I saw a nice photo of you with one of my favorite drummer, Mr. Lee from the Motley Crue. What is your favorite music that you like?
He is one of the coolest guys you would ever meet. He's not pretentious whatsoever. He's extremely humble. He was sitting in the exit row, and I really enjoyed visiting with him. He was coming from Kelowna, Canada. And I guess he's got family up there, but I think he was going to see his son. But very humble, and he's cool.
Good. You got some nice,
he's very cool. He's a cool dude.
You got some nice photos. By the way, why don't you remind to our listeners your Facebook page, so maybe people can find you out, and maybe you find a good military man overseas can become maybe your boyfriend.
I don't need to be set up. You're funny.
I'm just playing with you.
It's a Facebook artist, Alicia Hays.
Okay.
Yeah, on Facebook.
Perfect.
So if you look up Alicia Hays by itself, it's probably not me. I think I have on a bandana that says USA.
Yes, nice bandana. I like that. I have a photo like you with the bandana. It's kind of funny. I'll send you the photo. We're almost twins in some areas, okay? Listen, Alicia, I would like to, first of all, thank you very much for your time. And I already dedicated a poem to you, and I need to stop doing love things. Otherwise, people always say of me that I'm kind of, I don't know, I try to hit on you or things like that. I'm just trying to be nice or romantic. So I will play a song for you, okay? Something a little different, and I will surprise you. I'm not going to tell you right now, but when you will listen to the show live, you will pretty much listen to the song. But this song is for you, and it's called The Wall. I'm going to tell you. This song is dedicated to all the men and women in uniform. They will pretty much never obey in a constitutional order, and we always defend our republic. So this is the way I really want to honor our men and women in uniform. The song is called The Wall, music and lyrics by Gianluca Zanna.
We are the wall. We are the soldiers, the United States of America. We are the wall that divides freedom from fear. We separate your lives from the tears. We are the wall that permits you to have fun. We stand up strong when everybody runs. We are the wall between things never wished to see. We are the wall, and we are proud to be. We are the wall, made of tears, blood, and pain. We are the wall, don't make us die in vain. No, please.
And that was The Wall, music and lyrics by Gianluca Zanna. I really enjoyed today's show. I always try to bring a new guest, new information, or even the same information but from different angles. And I really appreciate Alicia. I really like to have this type of conversation regarding our humanity, our love and spirituality. And as you know, the show it's called Love, Guns and Freedom. So I hope you at least try to see what I'm trying to do here. This is not just about boom, 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 guns, or, give me liberty, give me death. It's all important. It's all combined together. It's all part of a unity. As I said, not going to be happening. Freedom is not going to happen unless you have love. Love for freedom, love for a cause, love for your fellow humans. Love also for yourself. You do not want to submit to be a slave. And the same thing with a gun. A gun is just a tool. How many times I said? So, if there is no motivation, if there is no fervor of love for freedom and also for good, gun is useless. That's why I'm saying I'm really happy to always explore new different dimensions even in this show. I remind you also that if you want to check it out and see and listen, more important, all my archives, you can go to www.lovegunsfreedom.com, lovegunsfreedom.com, and you can listen to all my former shows. Right now we are pretty much pushing for 1 year and enough almost on the air. I would never imagine to make it so far, and I really appreciate you, listener, for your support and for your help. Thank you very much, and please stay tuned, and also don't forget to come and listen to next Sunday's show. It's going to be very interesting. More guests on the way and more information. You've been listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna. Ciao.